What is going on, everybody, and welcome to the CECC West Qualifier Rocket League Edition. Septil and Nerdy Bird to bring you our first series of the day. We've got Colorado going up against San Diego right now, and it is going to be an absolute powerhouse of a matchup.
Very excited to see what both these teams bring to the table. Both have very well established Rocket League and esports programs abound at these universities. So I expect this to be a difficult match for both teams. A near open goal opportunity there is saved at the last moment by Yoke. So nicely done there, my friend.
A huge opportunity there, and I believe all of these are best of threes, so these may be going a little bit quicker, a lot of it quicker than our Overwatch series today. And quick, Colorado, they are bringing the speed right now. Starvin right into Yokes to put that first goal away. Only 37 seconds off the clock.
Sometimes how quickly that first goal is scored will tell us how fast the rest are going to come, but other times it kind of gets reversed almost immediately. So let's see what ends up happening here.
Yeah, there's definitely a double-edged sword to scoring early, and there it is, actually, is one of the teams will score, and the other one can think, oh no, we're down 1-0, then they can think, it's only been 37 seconds, like we've got more, then they have time to score it back out. I think Ant, fully aware of that, adds it right into goal. We're tied back up 1-1.
I'm interested to see if we have a very high-scoring game, or if this stays relatively low. The 50-50 goes a little bit more in favor. Oh, never mind. It gets turned away and shot on goal by Yokes there, so they're both kind of going after one another's goal-scoring opportunities. Lava Blue from San Diego gets the clear out to the mid, but it's gonna be stopped by Boulder.
My goodness, I mean, that was a really close matchup there. We saw the demolition into a bit of a clank, some physicality coming out from both sides. And Nerdy, anybody who's cast Rocket League knows that physicality is what I truly believe is the key factor separating the greats from the goods. And now a minute 10 off the clock, we see the second goal coming in for Colorado. They've got a 1-point lead, but you really want to try to have 2 or 3 points before you can really start feeling comfortable with that lead.
Yeah, 1-point lead. If the scoreboard stays stagnant, that is a possible buzzer beater opportunity to bring us into overtime, so definitely want to look for that security goal. Beluga's shot on goal gets turned. Well, Beluga saved the shot from Yokes there on goal. However, digging it out of the back third is yet to happen, as the forward push coming out from Boulder right now, their rotations are almost spot on. A dunk down right in front of the goal. It forces a double commit, but the save is made. Still, ball on the back third of the side of San Diego.
Yeah, San Diego coming in clutch here, coming in very aggressively to see what they're able to do. I like Colorado's play style. It's something that we see very often from a lot of teams. They're going for what I always kind of refer to as the peppering play style, where they just kind of slam the ball toward goal over and over, and statistically go in eventually. Now that goal I thought would win, but the next one, no, the secondary attempt also caught out. Rootin' and tootin', but not quite shooting that goal, not able to go in quite yet. We're getting danger close. Entering that second half, and the physicality is amazing. It is flawless. It is soul origin. This game is not 4 or 5 points in the future. So many times we have seen these bashes and these clanks and these bumps in the air that disrupt these teams from scoring. We've seen it on both sides, so it goes to show these teams truly neck and neck.
They are. I'm just wanting to see a little bit more of the midfield control coming out from both these sides. We're seeing a lot of this ball just getting volleyed into that back third, ping-ponged around a little bit, and then volleyed right back. Sometimes we do have that one player in the commanding middle, but it is immediately just sent to the side without any attempt at main middle ground possession. However, Yokes finds goal number 3 there for Boulder in due fashion. We have a little less than 2 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, we've just now entered the second half, and I'm looking to see if either of these teams have what I always call the second half buff, where a team really just starts to run away with a series right now. Colorado feeling large and in charge, to say the very least. A huge opportunity for them jumping into this, but it's only, a 1-goal thing, and then all of a sudden it's a point difference, and there's still 2 minutes on the clock. So Colorado, not only do they need to be paying attention to their over-aggressive offense and attempts to score, but they've really got to watch the defense too, because one more goal, and all of a sudden their backs are against the wall once again.
Considering that they have that security goal, they could just be focusing more on rotations right now and getting clean goal-scoring opportunities. Like right there, forcing out one defender, but there was no follow-up rotation for a teammate. Took away that goal-scoring opportunity, so that's what I'm talking about, in being in those rotating positions. That was absolutely beautiful, getting their own rebound, but the secondary commit from San Diego was the saving grade.
There it is. Flover says, I'll do it myself. The double tap up and off the top of the goal, and all of a sudden a 4-1 just hurts a whole lot harder than 3 seconds block. And Colorado, this is a team that I've had the opportunity to watch outside of the CECC, and they are just as good all the time. They refuse to slow down. They refuse to pull any punches, and we're seeing that right here in Game 1. Like I said earlier, Rocket League is only a best of 3 this weekend, except for, or today. Tomorrow will be best of 5s, but today is best of 3s only, and there's a huge opportunity for Colorado to already put themselves on series point.
Great cross-map shot there from Lava Blue, saved by Yokes. It's just their team was not ready to push forward with it. Unfortunately, so that did take away their goal-scoring opportunity. However, we have San Diego going for another, and shot on goal looks like it was a slight disruption by their own teammate and a commit on the save from Boulder.
Now down to the final 60 seconds. We're looking at 1 goal per 15 seconds here on the side of San Diego. If they wanted to win the game, they'd need to score quite a few times to really tie things up even. And Colorado, they're looking to walk away, like I said, with that Game 1 victory, because then all of a sudden, they're already on series point. And it's important to note as well, this is a traditional bracket. We are no longer in that round-robin style that we saw in the world of Overwatch. This is going to be a full-blown double elim bracket, so whichever team loses this, they'll be down, but they won't be out quite yet.
Yes, they'll have the opportunity to go through the redemption stages. However, you never want your first game to result in you ending up there. One thing I will touch on, though, is when a scoreboard looks like this, a lot of times we'll see the team that is not in the advantageous position come back swinging in game number 2, having taken game number 1 as a chance to just analyze the team and figure out their play style. But after these 5 seconds, the next 5 minutes will truly be the telling factor of whether or not that's the case.
Oh. And trying to carry the lion's share of the momentum into Game 2. And something interesting I kind of want to talk about as this game comes to a close is how a lot of the times Rocket League is a best-of-5 series, like we're going to be seeing a lot of tomorrow. But, you know, today we had to make sure we had time to broadcast all the teams and whatnot, so it's only best of 3. But in the best-of-5 circumstance, I think playing Game 1 a little bit slower, a little more calculated, is absolutely welcome. But in a situation where it's a best-of-3, you can't be playing Game 1 in that patient statistical play style, because losing Game 1 puts you on the wrong side of a series point. And I'm not saying by any means that San Diego did that, but I think you're completely right that a lot of teams will do that. And I hope the teams coming in today realize that they're not going to have as much wiggle room as they may be used to.
Yeah, I mean, the best-of-5 series, going slow to start, definitely preserve as much of your stamina as you possibly can, because these games are very mentally taxing. They go so fast, but it takes so much mental calculations, and just all of the pressure is exhausting over time. I just really hope that in this next match, San Diego comes back swinging twice as hard as they were. I mean, closing out with half the score that Boulder did, not bad. It's not a complete shutout. There's definitely light at the end of the tunnel, but they need to start gunning for it in this next round.
Yeah, without a doubt. They've really got to be gunning for it. And it's actually incredible that Yokes from the side of Colorado, actually 961 points. So almost quadruple digits, which is not something I feel we see often. We saw 5 saves and 4 shots, 3 of them being goals. So a very strong showing from Yokes there in Game 1. And like you said, jumping into Game 2, it's a little bit scary because in those best of 5s, you can say, oh, we lost Game 1, GG, go next. Now you have to look at this Game 1 loss as a GG, go next with no second chances. If you lose Game 2, that's simply all. That's going to be all she wrote here for this first series of the night. And I'm really considering, you know, what level of aggression we're going to be seeing from UCSD, because it's truly becoming, now we're going to stay in the upper bracket.
I mean, UCSD has some great forward pressure. It's just the issue is coming through with the follow-ups. They got a great follow-up there from Beluga. Coming off Lava Blue, though, scoring an 11 seconds goal, number 1. And this time, it's their turn to be the first ones to get that first tick.
They do that almost 3 times faster than what we saw last time. I think it was about 30-something seconds. This time it is 11. So really a whole lot faster. Now, the same print from Game 1 does apply. Colorado, they're like, oh, shucks, we're down 1. But at the same time, they're like, oh, we have 4:45 to score at least 1 time. That definitely feels like it's going to be in the cards here for Colorado. But, I mean, San Diego, they've got to feel very proud of what's coming out right now. They find themselves up 1-0 on the series. That's already half of what they were able to score in that last game. So momentum definitely feels like it's shifted into their favor, at least a little bit.
We'll have to see. The ball is on the back third of Boulder side of the field. Pushing it forward, playing around 1. Starvin does a great job digging it out of the corner, centering it up for a teammate. The touch speed was just not in their favor, though, so it's immediately cleared to the mid, popping out of that pocket on the corner. Beluga goes for the off the back wall. Rotation already came out from Ant, though, so there was no follow-up, taking out the goalkeeper. Lover and Yokes, that was beautiful.
and Yokes just juggles the ball all the way down past through the midfield, down and out. Like you said, demoing the goalie was all they needed to do to find that first goal. 50 seconds later than the goal scored against them. We're tied up 1-1, as I always love to say, just a complicated 0-0, and it's the next goal that can really dictate momentum for either side.
I know that you like the aggression, but I like the metered aggression when you take out people at the precise, perfect moment, but it wasn't necessary here. This was absolutely unstoppable and beautiful from Starvin.
It was just the stories of unfortunate touches there from the side of San Diego. They had 3 in a row. Starvin took a prime opportunity, completely open goal, scores early. What was that, maybe 3 seconds, 5 seconds after the last time they had found that goal, and all of a sudden, we've got Colorado back in the lead.
It is just a 1-goal lead, though, so let's see if UCSD can turn that one around. We got Lava Blue off the goal for himself. Very spicy.
So what I'm learning very quickly here, Nerdy, is everybody's playing offense. Nobody's playing defense. Because we have seen 4 goals very quickly. We're a minute 13 in, 73 seconds in, and we've got 4 goals online already. That is a goal less than every 25 seconds right now. It is just pure aggression and adrenaline from these players, and I think whichever team realizes this first will be the team to win. The team that starts leaving a player in the back third, they starts leaving a goalie a little more consistently. That's the team that'll walk away victorious. But right now, I don't think either team has really quite noticed how fast the tempo.
I genuinely do agree with you in that regard. I mean, we've got Yokes pushing forward. I don't see anyone at that goal. We can see a cross-map shot happening easily here. However, yet again, digging it out of this back third, teams are struggling just because those rotations are not wide enough and they're double committing on goal-saving opportunities.
2 minutes now burning off the clock, and Beluga trying to go for the goal, going to be able to do it, bounces the ball off the crossbar, clears it in front of their own goal, which is, as always, incredibly dangerous, but luckily nobody from Colorado was really there to capitalize off the back of that moment. And now off to the top right of the goal, Yoke's going to be the one to save and dodge it out. 251, 250 now. The pressure is on, as it's going to be all about how quickly somebody can find that next goal. And very similar to how this game started, I truly believe whoever finds that next goal will find themselves probably in the winner's chair after this game.
Both teams right now looking for 2 goals for themselves, one to get in the lead, one for extra security, and as Seth put it, we are at a complicated 0-0 with just under half of this round left. Demolition at the midfield from Starvin onto Beluga will open up the field for a few moments as Flover does some beautiful aerial play to drag this ball down, but is interrupted in mid-flight by Ant.
Oh, Starvin could have spiked that into goal, but a great position from the side of San Diego was in the way to get that defensive block and make sure that goal did not climb in quite yet. This is so interesting. This feels much more like a game 1 than our game 1 to me. This feels much more like a purgatory state where the teams are definitely trying to get a feel out for one another and just trying to generally decide how aggressive they want to play. I still think we're staring at a game that is raw aggression, and it looks like Flover, speaking of aggression, is going to bring that all the way from one corner to another. Look at that. He's all the way down by the opposing goal and just rides it all the way down and through the mid, past one defender immediately. But sorry, that wasn't Flover. That was a teammate. Flover's the one that sinks in at the end. There was Starvin who goes for that long-range shot.
I'm genuinely waiting, just like you, for when someone starts leaving that player in the back third. Every time I've seen this camera angle rotate, that goal is wide open. Starvin comes in, finds goal number 4, so there's the security goal I was talking about. Just under 2 minutes left, though, so plenty of time for the side of San Diego to even out the playing field. But really, the defense is severely lacking on both teams' fronts. It seems like they're very forwardly aggressive and offensively aggressive, but they don't have a defensive presence.
Yeah, it's all about offense right now. The defensive presence is certainly lacking, at least on both sides for the time being. Oh, that was almost the most unfortunate goal I've seen in a really long time at the crossbar. Going to save it out. We've got an exact mirror of this. We ended back in game 1, 90 seconds left on the clock this time, so it is very likely one of these teams walks away with at least a point differential. We've got 80 seconds left. I mean, there's more than enough time for this to be turned around, but as Flover goes to sink in their 3rd shot of the game, that's going to be an official hat trick for Flover and a 5-2 scoreline in favor of Colorado. They are 80 seconds away here, Nerdy, from walking away with a just 2-0 victory to kick off our Rocket League today.
So Boulder is getting away with this all offense, no defense play style, but honestly, San Diego needs to start committing more time into the defensive play that they have.
No doubt.
Because they need to recognize they're not outscoring this team, and the only thing that they can do now at this point is stop letting more goals go in and being more calculated with their offensive opportunities, because Boulder is leaving this net wide open. Had this rotation been in sequence here coming out from San Diego, they could have easily prevented Yoke from getting possession of this ball.
And I think a really good kind of breakdown of what's happening here is in a situation where you have two teams that are both playing insane offense, it no longer comes down to who's playing a better offense, it comes down to who has better communication. Because so many goals we've seen from Colorado have been Yokes into Starvin or Starvin into Flover. It has very rarely been an individual player, and they just emphasize my point right there. Flover has a phenomenal juggle in the air and up and off the corner, spikes the ball into goal. That is S-tier communication, and I think that communication is what's going to take this team a long way through this bracket.
I hope you're right. The first game of our Overwatch series was very telling of how the rest of our evening went within regards to that, but I also want to see, like I said earlier, I want to see teams with cleaner rotations, more focus on both offense and defense, splitting the time between the two, and the midfield presence being there for these teams.
Midfield presence is going to become more and more important as we get into this because, you know, as any bracket works, it's all about the best players finding themselves at the end. And like you said, I feel if we get to a certain level of talent, a certain level of skill, somebody will be able to exploit Colorado pretty aggressively. But as that timer ticks down and that final goal will sink in, it's not quite the Brazil, but it is a victory for Colorado and a 2-0 victory at that, Nerdy. A great and efficient way to kick off our evening here for Rocket League. We've still got, I think, 5 more games after this one.
I think.
No, wait. 7. There's a lot of Rocket League is my point, folks. We've got a whole lot going on for you tonight. We're going to have quite a few series today, and then we've got even more tomorrow. So it's going to be a fascinating day, to say the very least.
We might lose our voices, but that's okay. We do it for the entertainment.
True. We do. We love what we do. We wouldn't do this
Yes.
if we did. This is very entertaining. But, folks, we're going to try to throw it to a shorter break, try to get an interview with somebody from Colorado. So back either with the interview or with our next series. Either way, we'll see you right back here. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back. CECC West qualifier, Septilance and Nerdy Bird on the mic. But in the game, we've got California State University, Monterey Bay up against, I just had it, where did it go? George Fox Gold. They're going to be bringing the heat here today in another best of 3 series.
And it does look like we have some very offensively heavy teams yet again, gunning for that early goal. None have found the back of the net just yet, so not quite as quickly as we saw in our first game. However, back third is where this ball is staying. It needs to be dug out. Let's see if the defensive presence can come through for one of these teams here soon, or if we're just going to see these volleys going back and forth.
Now, it's only been 40 seconds, so I'm a little hesitant to make this comment, but this series already feels slower than our last. And I think there's a very real chance that I think that the two teams we saw go toe-to-toe a little bit ago, Colorado and UCSD, are just very fast-playing teams. Now, if you're looking at George Fox Gold, that entire play from Sweets was very slow, very methodical and calculated, a great air dribble past 2 defenders. That's not something you can do very quickly. Ooh. That requires that slow style of finesse.
That was actually beautiful. I love the slow-mo shots that we get here. So going to the next 50-50, it does look like we're going to have Keenan win it out, but they lose out possession to Sweets very quickly. However, Sweets trying to do the back pass also cannot maintain possession for their team.
Keenan, like you said, had a great opportunity there trying to get the possession, and currently one of my favorite accessories in the game, those Dragon Wings, but not going to be happening quite yet. Goes for the kickoff into the side of goal, but it's going to fall off to the left. And that player's name is Lil Stupid. If you hear us say something along those lines, I promise we are not being mean. We are just saying the player's name. Tweets now into Love My Pancake. Blocked out a great defensive play from the side of George Fox. And with these slower style games here, Nerdy, I feel we often see a team that finds a goal, maybe often finds 2, and then really tones it down into that defensive play mode. And it looks like George Fox Gold has started to do that pretty early.
I mean, it is also, you know, Rocket League is a 3v3 soccer-style game, just with, you know, acrobatic RC cars thrown in the mix that have rocket boost. However, low-scoring soccer is something that is common to see, and it's not uncommon to also see that reflected in Rocket League play as players do the slow burn, methodical style gameplay that we're seeing right now.
Yeah, that slow burn is definitely, you know, honestly, it's not as interesting as It is really impressive. It comes down to some insane mechanics like we've already seen from the Sweets. I really still can't get over how just textbook that air dribble was early this time. It's JKL walking it up and past, I think, 2 defenders to sink it in right off the backboard. Turns into a bit of a double tap with the help of somebody from the wrong side, and that defense does come a little bit short.
I'll be honest, when you're already that far back in the goal, and in situations where it's an own goal where you're trying to go for that defensive touch at the last possible second, if you weren't there, it was going to go in. You being there, it went in anyway, so it's okay. Not really much you could have done. At least you went for the saving opportunity. It just didn't work out in your favor.
Yeah, that's definitely a great observation. That's something we're probably going to see a lot. There's so many goals where it's like, oh, they could have saved that, but if you remove them from the equation, it's like, I think that was going in either way. And we're going to be a lot of those circumstances. This game definitely feels a lot slower and a lot closer, like we're talking about. And the scoreboard, of course, the best example. We've got, 130 seconds left on the clock. We're sitting at a 1-1 scoreline. We're essentially tied until somebody else puts that next goal away to secure their team a lead and possibly a victory if they play their cards right.
We do have a little bit of a slight pile up on the defensive back third here. They do start rotating out, but we have them kind of all within the same quadrant on the field. Not really something you want to be seeing no matter what you're doing, whether it be offense or defense. You want to make sure you're putting pressure on and putting pressure forward. We do have a great clear, but Little Stupid will elevate to dunk the ball down in the corner. However, they cannot maintain possession for CSU any longer. Shot on goal is going to be a little wide, saved by that extra 4th player, the crossbar.
Little Stupid trying to get ball possession once again. It's going to be blocked out now. Oh, great defensive play from Garrett there. I thought that was going to go right underneath them, but Sweets is not going to find that sweet goal quite yet. Little Stupid with a secondary block. Sweets going for the 3rd attempt to put that ball away and off to the left. There's not a teammate to follow up fast enough off the crossbar. 3rd tries the charm. No. 3rd try does harm to the team's attempts of putting that goal down. We are down to 60 seconds on the clock here, Nerdy.
Are we going to see our first overtime of our Rocket League stream tonight happening right now? That could be an excruciatingly painful long overtime in a best-of-3 series where you're going no holds barred constantly.
Oh!
Never mind. Keenan has something else to say about that, bringing their team score up by 1 currently. We now have George Fox Gold in the lead. Oh, but they need 1 more to be sitting comfortably. 49 seconds is enough time to do that, but they'll have to change up the tempo they've been using thus far in order to gain that security goal.
Oh, that security goal, like you said, is not in existence quite yet. Sweets is trying to play that same level of aggression that we saw earlier. Sweets really was with that first lead-in goal, that Urge stopped talking about. Had some great potential, some great control, and as Sweets goes for another goal, it really seems like they want to be the striker, but there's just not the appropriate team follow-up that they need. LS going for a goal of his own. 22 seconds left on the clock. Going to be going up and through off to the, fortunately, and that may cost them at the end of the day. Garrett's trying to tie it up by themselves. Nope, but there are 2 defenders. A double commit leaves the goal open, and Lil Stupid is going to be the one to put that goal away. LS doing a great job to tie things up. And now, Nerdy, we are 13 seconds on the clock. Overtime is statistically probable.
I think it's imminent. We're going to watch a slow burn overtime that's going to be both anxiety-inducing and a nail-biter. The first 50-50 goes in favor of GF Gold there. Ball in the back third on CSM side of the field. Can they find it out, or will it find its way in the back of the net? Ball hits the ground now, and we're going into overtime. We've got Garrett keeping it alive, but it gets dunked down now. Overtime, golden goal opportunity. Who's going to find the back of the net first and when?
Yeah, this is that fascinating thing about Rocket League is nobody walks home with a draw. It's a win or a loss all the way down the line, and the timer will continue to count up until somebody puts that ball away. So we are no longer looking at a 5-minute timer. There's no real regulations on this. The only way to get out of this purgatory is for someone to put the ball in goal, and it looks like GFU is trying to do that right now. Trying to happen to them as Keating Graz goes up and over toward the center field, bounces it off a defender and right up through into the center field toward the goal. A double commit on the defense, though, could leave the goal wide open if they're not careful. It's just going to be an insane back and forth. Like you said, with the way these teams have been playing, this could go for minutes.
It does look like George Fox Gold is definitely putting on a lot more aggressive offensive pressure, but they're trying to be methodical about it. They're rotating back quite quickly. We've got Love My Pancakes looking to make sure they're in that centering position, but the ball is now past them. Goal scoring opportunity finds the back of the net. JKL is your golden goal victor here for CSM in game number 1.
CSMB looking good at the end of game 1. It takes them an extra 60 seconds, but they do find their footing at the end of it all. It's a 3-2 victory. Very close, but hey, it was close enough for you to walk away with that win. I can't believe that was game 1. That overtime really kind of threw off my internal clock on that, but CSUMB looking great. I want to take a quick look at what we got here. So 7 shots on goal and 10 shots on goal from George Fox Gold. So a lot more aggression from the side of GFG, but at the same time, aggression isn't always the key to success if the ball isn't finding per.
Honestly, half the time it does feel like you do need to be almost a physics major to completely master the trajectory of this ball, and I feel like that's where the playing slower and more methodically plays into this game can be to your advantage, and it felt like as soon as George Fox Gold decided to hit the gas into overtime, it was their undoing. So sticking with the slower pace, even if it makes that game a little bit more brutal, might be the way to go. But we got Sweets trying to go for that power play again. It is immediately taken away, though.
I want to jump back to what you said, that comment about having to basically be a physics major or some kind of engine to make this work. I always forget, truly, how hard the mechanics are in this game because these players make it look so easy. This is the style of thing where I'm watching, I'm like, oh, I could probably do that. I mean, hand me a controller. Like, I'm going to fumble hard. Like, they make it look like second. At the end of the day, every small move they're doing, every small control or air dribble or physicality they're bringing to the table has taken probably hundreds of hours of practice. And I'm always so impressed with how easy these players can make something so difficult look.
Truly, it just comes down to like the absolute skill that we are graced with being able to watch in these games. And right now, that pass that we just saw between those two players was absolutely beautiful. Shot on goal from Garrett's does get saved by Keenan. Now ball getting volleyed across that midfield stripe. Keenan goes for the dunk down, but is the follow-up there? It is, but it's a little bit too late, so it forces out a double commit from CSMB. They do manage to corral this ball in the corner, but the follow-up miscommunication breakdown allows George Fox Gold to get possession back.
Double tap tries to come through. Garrett goes for a goal of their own, but Keenan gets in the way to separate it. We're a minute 40 off the clock and counting, and this just feels very reminiscent of game 1. We were really looking at game 1 as a very slow paced, kind of go for the goal when you get the chance style gameplay, and that's exactly what's happening here. Kiss that second minute goodbye. A great physical bump comes through to open up the goal of George Fox, but it's just not going to be found quite yet.
Honestly, I feel like having the consistency between the first two games is actually a great telltale sign of how level-headed these players are going about this. However, wide open goal, Garrett will capitalize on that immediately. First goal of game number 2, taking 2 minutes and 8 seconds to find its way in the back of that net.
Yeah, 2 minutes and 8 seconds is pretty on par, I think, for the goals that we've seen from the team so far. Very slow or very sudden, and I feel there's nothing really in between. A really bad hit-off goal there, kickoff, into the center field. And as we enter the back third of George Fox Gold, it's going to be a great opportunity to see if Monterey Bay can find that second goal, give themselves that comfort, that safety net that they're looking for. Love the Pancakes with a huge demo, but no follow-up on the ball there. That was really fascinating to see it lose all momentum for several seconds. I think that's not something we see often.
That is an example of just communication not fully being there, opening up your comms and saying to your teammates, I'm going for the demo. There needs to be follow-up, lest you leave the ball dead in the water. It creates those awkward moments of who's going to go get it. And one missed movement can result in a bad series of events. And we've got Keenan coming in to even out our scoreboard, tied one aside. 2 minutes, 10 seconds left on that clock.
Yeah, speaking of, you talk about missed movement. We had a great example of perfect movement there from Keenan, right up and over 2 defenders to go for an open goal. Saw the opportunity and took it. Was given an inch, took a mile there, and with 2:08 on the clock now, we're back to that 0-0. This is so... I feel like I'm watching game 1.
Ooh, we had a shot on goal that just couldn't quite find the right angle. Is there a follow-up? There is going to be Garrett, but they do get bumped around quite a bit. But JKL comes in for the secondary touch. finds goal number 2, and now GSMB is up by 1. Can they find the security goal, or are we going to see this get tied once again?
It's funny because not only was that goal number 2 scored off a secondary touch, but that was JKL's second goal as well. So a lot of two. And now 1:45 remaining. We're about to see our 100th second, and oh my goodness, Nerdy, that was incredibly close. I'm amazed that the ball did not find purchase in the goal. That was just the Rocket League gods disagreeing for a moment about whether or not that goal should have gone in. 90 seconds left here. Danger close to entering that sub-minute territory, and winning by a single point is absolutely still winning.
Yeah, definitely when that ball was rolled in, I had a gasp, not sure if it was audible, but Love My Pancakes is going to come in and say, hey, Seppi, Nerdy, it's time for that Akko Taco. It's complicated 0-0 once again, with just a little under 90 seconds left on the clock. Will we see another overtime? I'm thinking yes, however, these teams might try to close this out now.
80 seconds remaining, and we've tied it back to that 2-2. And like you said, somebody's going to be looking to close this out right now. We want to avoid another overtime because I think both these teams have to play at least one more time today, let alone playing tomorrow if they make it that far. So it's about conserving as much energy as you possibly can. And, oh, I thought that was a shoo-in to go in on the side of George Fox Gold, but it was going to be a little too far off to the side. Keenan has a great setup. There's no follow-up, and now ball control still in favor of George Fox, but they're on the wrong side of the field.
I'm really wondering if Love My Pancakes is the secret striker for George Fox, as they had 2 back-to-back goal-scoring opportunities. One of them did result in a goal, and then they rushed back and got into their defensive rotation to that back post very quickly. So hopefully they're playing as that in-game lead here and trying to get their team to, rally up here in the next 33 seconds to help them find that extra goal they need to stop the overtime from happening here.
30 seconds remaining. I mean, we're down to the 20s now, and it's looking like we are going to be seeing that overtime statistically. 20 seconds is more than enough time. We saw a team score earlier today twice in 9 seconds, so we know that there is plenty of time on the board. A great drive up and over with the crossbar there to disrupt. Is there the follow-up that the team needs? No! George Fox, one of their players, steps in the way of the goal, and it is going to cost them a point that could have won them the game, could have forced a game 3, but as that ball enters overtime, Monterey Bay, they are looking to win in overtime once again.
Now this is Nail Biter, as we mentioned earlier, best of 3, meaning this is match point for Monterey Bay. Can they find that golden goal they need? Great cross-map pass. However, getting in that passing lane is something that is definitely a power here for GFU. Let's see if they can maintain that ball possession, because right now they are taking these opportunities away left and right. Ball in the back third of CSMB's side of the field.
LS going for an opportunity to strike toward that George Fox goal, but it's not going to be open quite yet. Oh, there was almost another timing there. I think they're looking to play the exact same style they did last time. LS there, flying a little bit, maybe too close to the goal, trying to fly under GFG's radar. LS once again has ball control, almost single-handedly from CSUMB. Sweets goes up and over. Can they sink it in? Knocked away by Garrett, and all of a sudden ball control is up for grabs in favor of George Fox for just a moment. Keenan Gross has an open goal. Can they capitalize? Up and off the crossbar again. No secondary touches in sight.
It does seem like for the side of George Fox, they are trying to play a little bit more apprehensively just to ensure there isn't an easy open goal opportunity for that one goal necessary for the other team to come out on top here. CSMB seems to be doing a similar thing. However, very heavily committed on the defense, as we see 2 players typically in that back third while the ball is in the midfield zone. Not typically something you want to be seeing. You still need to keep strong rotations happening here in order to open up goal-scoring opportunities.
Keenan Gross grabs ball control, immediately rips out all momentum, but instead passes it up and away. A great demolition from Garrett. JKL, who has found quite a few goals of their own. That is an open goal if I've ever seen one. Off to the left and then off the right still. Not going to find the spot. That is right. Now we are 2 minutes deep into this overtime, and the pressure is on unbelievably so. Both these teams fighting to keep that spot into the upper bracket, and CSUMB, they want to secure it. They want to keep themselves alive with this safety net as long as possible, but if GFG can win this, they can force a game 3.
There's a double commit there coming out from CSMB in order to allow them to find this clear, and another double commit there on the shot on goal, forcing their defensive player to rotate forward, and now GFU has possession, looking to play it off the wall. Keenan looking to center it up to a teammate, but in mid-flight, and the cherry picker comes through. Doesn't matter. Garrett's shot from the midfield will be the golden goal.
Not as exciting as some of our other goals, but definitely a good one. close and keeps the wheels moving for these teams. That is going to be CSUMB, I believe, winning the series 2-0 in total. George Fox Gold fighting tooth and nail. And there's this weird chance that George Fox Gold will have to fight their sister team, George Fox Blue, depending on how our next series goes. But before we get to that series, y'all know the drill by now. We're going to throw it to a break. We'll see you right back here in just a bit with some more CECC West qualifying action. Don't go far. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the CECC qualifiers. I'm still Septlin, still joined by Nerdy Bird. That's right, 8 hours later, and we are here with George Fox Blue versus Keyano College. They're going to be going toe-to-toe in a Rocket League best-of-3, just like we have seen twice today already. Nerdy, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm here. My brain is not able to keep up with what these players are doing all the time. It never is, honestly, in Rocket League. These guys, just their skill level is so above and beyond anything I could ever imagine doing in this game. However, I am here to commentate and just talk about how much they can pop off. And right now, we are seeing a lot more midfield play than I got to see earlier, so it's making me happy, but a lot of double commits happening at the same time, so hopefully those get cleaned up here very shortly.
Yeah, quite a few double commits from George Fox Blue. We've seen them, I think, 2 already. It's been 35 seconds. I'm not sure who is the A team, B team, or varsity versus JV when it comes to George Fox Gold, George Fox Blue, but we've definitely, one of them is statistically going the other. I just don't know which one we're looking at, and I guess it's George Fox Blue time to show us that they are one of the stronger teams here in the CECC West qualifier. But it's Volt from the side of Keyano, a name we haven't even gotten to say yet, finds that early goal, only 55 seconds off the clock.
One thing I do like pointing out is when these universities do choose to go with the color schemes of their schools as opposed to designating one as JV or varsity, because that is a way of also the coaches to say, hey, I understand that you want us to label one as JV and one as varsity, but in all honesty, both teams have the opportunity to claim that title, the title of the #1 seed themselves. So we're going to give them colors and let fate decide the rest, as well as their own in-game skill per tournament. So you do see a great clear there from GFU, sent over to kicker Mikey. It's in the corner here. There's a follow-up touch from Aries, and it's off the back wall, but the shot on goal will get turned away by Volt.
Completely unrelated to the gameplay happening, but I've noticed this and I feel it up. I think this is the most one-word named players I have ever seen in the same lobby. We have Aries, we have Volt, we have Steve, and I think there's 1 or 2 more. There are very many players in a 6-man lobby with one-word names, and I'm loving every second of it, Nerdy. It's going to be another goal. Volt into Bang, back to Volt, into the second goal. Keyano College there, starting strong, large, and in charge. A minute 40, actually a minute off the clock, and they are ready to give themselves that 2-point safety net.
Let's see if they can maintain this lead, or if George Fox Blue starts coming back with a vengeance to go into this next 50-50. It goes in favor of Blue. Aries off the side is going to center it off the back wall, but before anyone can get there, even the geometry of the map, it's already volleyed by Keyano College to the back third of the side of George Fox Blue.
Vitaly, there's another one! There's so many one-word named players, and I love it. It makes the whole casting thing a lot easier. 2 minutes off the clock, 2 points on the board. That 2 almost turns to a 3, but a great defensive block coming in hot from Keyano College. They're starting strong. I love that they found 2 goals early, and now they're in such a spot where scoring is great and all if they get the chance, but they can play a hard defense if they have to.
The important question, though, is because we've seen quite a bit of lack of defense from these teams thus far tonight. Will this team be able to actually demonstrate some defensive prowess, or are they an offensive-heavy team? So far, they've kept some great rotations, had some nice touches, but pushing a little too far forward there. Volt still managed to make it back in time and grab it out of that corner. Now pushing forward, the return volley's already happened. I'm feeling like maybe they are quite the offensive heavy, just with clean rotations to that back post for the side of Keyano College, at least.
Volt's going to be going for another goal. I think that 3rd point will really seal the deal with 2 minutes left. Now, can a team score 3 times in a minute 20, or 120 seconds, excuse me? Absolutely. But, it's all about having that 3-0 that can really nullify a team or their hopes of winning game 1. And jump back to our initial series back in the first series. Oh, wait. Initial conversation back in the first series. It's important to remember that there is no, oh, we lost game 1, at least this is a best of 5. This is only a best of 3 after all, and I think these players are really going to have to play their cards right to keep that in mind.
They also got to be careful because there is multiple games happening this evening, so they can't completely gas themselves, pun intended, in their first series of the evening. Let's hope that's not the case, that this is them moderating their own energy, so to speak, and just giving it the best they can at a speed and pace that they can maintain. And right now, it looks like Volts and Bang are quite the wombo combo coming out in spades for Keyano College.
That's the third goal with still 81 seconds left on the clock. And this is really fascinating because if they, if they get a little bit too tired or perhaps a little exhausted or spend too much time with the pedal to the metal here in game one, that could be disastrous. But instead, it's going to be George Fox Blue finally putting their first goal on the board. And with, well over a minute left on the clock, finding 2 more points really isn't that hard. Well,
it's another
in
one
theory.
name. Yes. I'm sorry, I was just really enjoying Steve's name, and then they have Steve Harvey as their profile photo.
Oh,
Absolutely
I missed it!
Perfect.
I missed the Steve Harvey. Oh, okay, I'll have to look for it when they score again. A huge opportunity now for the side of George Fox Blue because they have found that momentum. They have found even a single goal, and that can really turn things around for a team. But when you leave your goal wide open, that's definitely going to hurt you down the line.
Vitali just comes in, cross map, snipe shot. This is that over rotation, over committing on a goal, especially when you're down already by 2. When there's this much time left on the clock, it's not worth the overcommit. Still rotate to the back third. Make sure you have someone in the midfield. Gotta keep your play clean. You can't forget the core mechanics even when the pressure is mounting, and Volt is not forgetting those core mechanics whatsoever, bringing their team up to their 5th goal. 57 seconds left on the clock and a 4-goal lead.
A 4-goal lead. We're looking at 1 goal roughly per 11 to 12 seconds in an attempt to win it all or at least tie the series for George Fox Blue. Realistically, that's probably not going to happen, but flip side, this is game 1 after all. There's more than enough time to really make it happen in game 2, force a game 3, and give us our reverse sweep, our first even essence of a reverse sweep today. Everything in Overwatch was a 3-0. Everything we've seen so far in Rocket League today was a 2-0, and it is just going to continue. Apparently that trend will not be changed today.
These teams are gunning for that opportunity to get to Atlanta. That is what all of this culminates to. Yes, we have our Grand Championship games tomorrow, but that is not even the end of these Cinderella stories that are being written tonight. So make sure that you follow along with everything that happens for the CECC storylines that are being written this evening.
Aries with a great demolition onto Bang. Can that open up the goal like they needed to? Volts goes for an attempt of their own. Ball control going to be passed back, but as the 10 seconds tick down, there is no point in pretending. Even if Bang puts that 6th goal away, this is still a victory here early for the side of Keyano College.
Yeah, I mean, you can get an extra morality goal in here just for George Fox Blue, just to, up the spirits a little bit. I mean, this is not a goose egg, so it's definitely not the worst that you can close out a game 1 with, but it's definitely not the situation you want to see yourself in. That gap is insurmountable at this point. Just try not to let another one go in. We know Keyano walks away with game 1 victory. Can George Fox Blue bring it back in the next one? They've got about, 60 seconds to start mitigating between each other and discuss what went wrong and fix things, and go into this next one, full throttle.
Vitali's ping is triple digits right now. Okay, it just dropped to 88, but it was 100 point, and that's just a lot of ping to be playing that well on for the team to walk away with a 6-1, and one of your players is playing a slideshow. That is, that's hats off to you. That is a difficult thing to do. I mean, truly. In some other games, playing with 100 ping can be like kind of annoying, but not really the end of the world. But when you come to a game like Rocket League, where milliseconds can make or break a difference, ping really does and can have an impact.
I'm trying to think of a game I'd be willing to play with more than 100 ping, and maybe an RTS? Maybe?
Now that I say it, now that I've said it and I have to think about it, I'm not sold that I would play anything over 100 ping. Yeah, I don't know. I already said it. I'm going to pretend like I still agree with it. But hey, game 2 is happening. That's crazy. Let's talk about that maybe instead. George Fox Blue going up against Keyano College. Keyano College 1-0 on the series, on a series point to stay in the winning bracket.
Definitely, Keyano College is a very well-rounded team that we see from what we've been able to witness thus far. Granted, we've not seen every single team this evening, but they're starting out with a bang yet again with an assist from Volts to Bang. The wombo combo coming through, static shock, so to speak, getting goal number 1 in 21 seconds on the clock.
There are 2 teams we haven't seen yet tonight, one of them being SJSU, who had to forfeit their first match and then lost to their second match to San Diego in the lower bracket. Up next, actually, I believe we'll be seeing them relatively soon. Scheduled for our next game is Neumont. We'll be going up against University of Colorado, but we've got to get through this game first, and it looks like Keyano kind of feels the same way, already putting 2 goals on the board, 27 seconds off the clock.
I mean, this year, our evening tonight for these players is expected to be going for the long haul. I mean, they're from all across the country, and closing out the final game at 1 in the morning is quite rough. So they are trying to finish these games in due fashion as quickly as possible. No one wants to see a game number 3 because everyone wants to be tucked, sleeping soundly in their beds before that clock ticks down to midnight and the magic wears off for the evening. And it definitely looks like Volts and Bang are not going to let this be an easy task for the side of George Fox Blue.
George Fox Blue really struggling here to find any footing, and I think this really comes down way back at the beginning of the broadcast in Overwatch Nerdy. I was talking about proactive versus reactive, and I think that applies so well here because it is just Keyano College playing proactively. They know what they're going to do. Nothing is accidental, and the communication is very clearly on par. They have forced George Fox Blue into this weird defensive reactive position that they're very clearly not familiar with and comfortable in being, and I think, you know, Keyano College, they found the hole in the armor, and they've just been stabbing it ever since.
I mean, when your team is so well-rounded and put together, such as the one we're seeing from Keyano College, you have to start finding the cracks in the armor and seeing the mistakes. And if you can't find them, you need to force them to be made. And in that case, that means rotating forward, pushing a defender out of position, forcing them out of position, so to speak, by a play that you make, and then going in for that secondary follow-up touch on the goal and solidifying that opportunity. But that ultimately comes down to your team's communication and your rotations and command of space on the field to make those opportunities happen for your side.
2 minutes off the clock, 2 points on the board. And this is game 2. There you go. There's your third 2. Things come in 3s. You just got to figure out what they are. Bang is going to find that demo onto Steve, and further into the series, demolitions are going to be more and more crucial because a demolition creates, I think it's like 2.4 seconds of free space before that player respawns. But a demolition is absolutely not valuable unless your team knows it's coming. You have, because by the time you say, oh, I've demoed blank, they've already respawned. So you have to be playing in a sense of, I'm going to demolition, you know, XYZ, and then your team can capitalize off the back. And I think if either team starts leaning into that physicality, leaning into those demolitions a little bit more, that can work out really well for them.
Yes, it's the idea of priming your play, what you're anticipating to do, communicating it with your team.
Wow.
And unfortunately, we did just see something that we saw earlier, so we're not going to dwell on it too heavily. Now we do have Vital coming in and getting another goal for their team there, bringing them up to 3 goals. Currently, right now, George Fox Blue still looking for their first goal. There's 2 minutes and 14 seconds on the clock. That means there's plenty of time for them to do it.
Vitaly, taking a page right out of my book here, listening to what I'm saying and trying to make most of it. An early demolition can go a long way, and we see that almost, I mean, to a T, almost a masterclass of what that demolition can do. Bang now going for another attempt, for the tertiary attempt, going to be coming through, but they just can't find it. Bright side, it's okay if you don't find it because you're currently up 3-0.
Honestly, right now, I'm really wanting Steve to find a goal for you so you can take a look at his player profile yet again. And I'm sure Steve is wanting that goal nonetheless for their team. But right now, Bang, getting in those passing lanes, stealing the ball away, carrying it across that goal line.
A phenomenal air dribble there, Bang from the midfield all the way up and past 2 defenders. No, all 3 of them, actually. 3 defenders in total, and just a flashy play if I have ever seen one. A masterclass on the air dribble. 102 seconds left here, Nerdy. And Keyano, they're just looking to put a little bow on this and send him home.
Four goals in this amount of time is doable. 5 is going to get a little bit more difficult to pull off, but it's not impossible. However, you have to play this game perfectly. These double commits that we're seeing from George Fox Blue out the gate can't be happening, and they need to be commanding this field space more. They have the gaming prowess to do so. They just cannot let the scoreboard intimidate them as much as it probably is right now. 5 goals in 90 seconds is doable.
Oh. Dang, Bang, almost making it a 6th, but Aries is block it out. And I agree. I think 5 goals in, you know, a minute 20 in about 80 seconds, it's definitely possible, but it's just going to start with George Fox Blue getting ball control for more than 5 or 6 seconds every time we see them. Oh, okay, I take it back.
Here it is.
Wait, I gotta see the profile picture. Everybody stop talking. Hold on, what is it? Oh, that's hilarious. Oh, I love that. That's so that's so funny. I love that. Steve with a great goal, the second goal on the side of George Fox Blue. And I was gonna say, you know, it's all about momentum. They haven't been able to find a goal yet, but before I even got the chance, you know, Steve took the words right out of my mouth.
And Steve goes in and wins the first 50-50, playing it off the wall, centering it up to Kick, but Kick loses it because they can't touch it in mid-flight, just that trajectory was a little bit off. Aries tries to corral it here in the corner, but unfortunately it does look like Keyano College is going to be the ones commanding possession of this ball and digging it out of their back third as it crosses that midfield stripe. Aries goes to return volley and is immediately sent right back to the midfield.
Aries with the demolition onto Volts and 51 seconds remaining on the clock. This has got to be, I mean, we're looking at 1 goal, 10 seconds here to take the lead in a 6-5 victory, the craziest comeback that any of us will have seen before. Fortunately, George Fox Blue looks like they will be meeting their sister team in the lower bracket, George Fox Gold.
Going to be a little bit of an awkward conversation to take place between both those siblings and their parents in the form of the coaches telling them to just try their best and do their best. But at the end of the day, it is the redemption bracket and only one can make it out alive at the top of that one. So we'll have to see how that shakes out in the future. But right now, it does look like Keyano College is not even done yet. 17 seconds on the clock. They're looking for more goals, but it doesn't matter. Aries is going to find goal number 2, and that is at least a little bit more of a morale boost as we have George Fox Blue going into the remainder of their series tonight.
Yeah, and you know, if they get 3 kickoff goals in a row, if we're talking statistics, they need 3 kickoff goals in a row, 1 goal for 5 seconds to tie the series. Realistically, that's probably not going to happen, but they have shown signs of life here toward the end of this second game, and that's what's truly important, right? It is showing that momentum heading into their next game, heading into the next series. They have that potential, they have that possibility to score and possibly win it, and like you said, survive that redemption bracket a little bit longer.
I mean, I love how you're like, statistically speaking, it's 1 goal per 5 seconds. And I'm like, yeah, no pressure. Ball still hasn't hit the ground yet. Finally does. Keyano College will walk away with the Game 2 victory. Congratulations to them. Unfortunately, our George Fox Blue will be joining for George Fox Gold. That is a little bit of a mouthful for me after so many hours of casting in our redemption bracket. But, you know, when you're going against family, one of you is going to have a slight upper hand because you're going to be like, hey, I scrim you guys a lot.
Somebody's always the older sibling, you know what I mean? Well, we're using the family analogy. Somebody's always got more experience. Somebody, like you said, it's hey, I scrim you all the time. I'm going to know your strategies, play styles, and we'll be right back, folks, with our next series in just a couple of minutes. We're actually doing great on time so far. Hopefully, we can keep up that momentum and keep up our own personal momentum to get these series rolling. We'll see you right back here in just a couple of minutes. Don't go far. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back, CECC qualifier. Y'all know the drill by now. Still Septilence and Nerdy on the mic. This time, we've got George Fox Gold against George Fox Blue here in the lower bracket. And this is going to be GFG versus GFB for the next 15 minutes.
Does look like... I really hope that they decided the side colors to match their team colors because this is a little confusing.
No, it's backwards.
Yes, it is backwards. Oh, golly, that'll be okay. We've got kicker Mikey trying to drag this ball down in front of the goal box. It is going to get turned away, however, right as it touches the ground.
A huge opportunity for Mikey to catch it out in that midfield once again, turning back and around toward gold. GFB, a huge opportunity to set up their goal, but it's blocked away. Now the pressure is on because this is all about that game 1 goal, that momentum that we've talked about so many times tonight.
Got Steve playing the ball in the corner to center it up to a teammate. Before that teammate gets there, though, it's intercepted, and Love My Pancakes comes in to find goal number 1. Is this the momentum that Septilence was speaking of? Only the next 4 minutes and 8 seconds will tell.
I do love me some momentum, and I think George Fox Gold finding them right side of that momentum as well. Pressure is on here as it's a 1. Oh, that was danger close to going directly into. Could have tied things up straight away, but no tie-ups quite yet.
Yeah, it did seem like there was a slight breakdown in communication on who was taking that kickoff and forced Lumba Pancakes to do one heck of a save for sure that was anxiety-inducing, but it worked out as Steve's shot on goal is going to be turned away by Sweets. Now at the midfield, we have a dunk down and a double commit between Aries and another teammate. And that for the man of the crossbar stops the ball from going in.
That is so sad. It was an open goal 2 times, and the crossbar just decided they were not allowed to have that goal. 90 seconds off the clock, 3:30 left on it, and it is still that 1-0 scoreline right now. George Fox Blue, who is in the orange, desperate to find that first goal to tie things back up.
We've got Steve trying to play it around 2 people, but their own teammates kind of getting in the way, so hopefully they spread out and start taking over some field space here. We've got Keenan not a lot of pressure slowing down to get tempo in their favor. Has Lubma Pancakes follow up on them to make sure they maintain possession. Shot on goal from Sweets turned away by kicker Mikey G.
2 minutes, another 30 seconds down the drain. We've got 3 minutes left. Clock, 2:50 remaining. Aries looking for that time to strike off the left corner, heading in toward. Might be able to find a proper lineup away toward the back third if they're careful, but Mikey, with a phenomenal interception, has set up a teammate, who was not there, unfortunately. Ball control back up in the air, both literally and figuratively. Oh, there's no way.
What? I need
There's
the
no
replay.
way. All 3 of them were there. There's just no way. Oh. Oh my goodness.
All right, now we're at a very awkward situation where the siblings are saying, "I'm not touching you," with their finger inches away from each other's faces. And we are at the complicated 0-0 yet again.
Yeah, that's the most complicated 0-0 I've ever seen. I cannot believe all 3 defenders went in. All 3 made contact, but somehow the ball just refused to budge an inch. Just rolled right into goal. Slow and Steady was winning that race. Oh, a huge opportunity for Mikey to score, but it could fall just a little bit short. A great defensive block coming in from George Fox Gold. Oh, up and over from Aries. Could have found it in off the corner. That is a dangerous way to clear the ball. You never want to knock it towards your own goal like that, especially with attackers so close.
Especially after what we just witnessed on that last goal, for sure. We have Steve now trying to push that ball forward. Does lose it out for a couple of moments. Can they regain it? They will instead collide with Aries, and now an open goal opportunity. Love My Pancakes is going to say, "I love my open goals," and finds goal number 2 for BFG.
GFG in a really good position to keep this momentum. This is basically a 2-0. I still cannot believe that other goal went in the way it did, but George Fox Gold team, they're looking to find that safety net, at least a 2-goal differential.
Aries in the air, doesn't have a lot of pressure on them, tries to dunk the ball down to Steve, but Steve is interrupted in mid-flight. Ball at the midfield, gonna be volleyed back by Aries, but Aries will sacrifice himself in the process. Off the ceiling, Lumba Pancakes goes to try and get possession, but Aries goes for a beautiful aerial dribble, has to play it around a couple of...
Oh, wow!
As I'm trying to, deliver the info on the screen, their teammate comes in for the alley-oop and just beautiful top right corner of the net. That's borderline impossible to stop. And we are tied at 2-a-side.
That was just, surprising. The camera angle as well completely gave us the element of surprise on that goal from Mikey to tie things up 2-2. And just like that, Mikey has had a change of plans, able to find that 3rd goal now. The momentum just continuing to move in favor of George Fox Blue.
They got to be careful, though. That momentum acts as a pendulum. If it starts to work against them, it can swing back the other way almost immediately. Still a minute and 15 seconds left on the clock with a 1-goal lead. That's not enough to let anything start breaking down just yet. They need to find an extra security goal and then maintain those defensive rotations.
Up and through. Mikey G trying to find another block away here. Doesn't want to make it a 3-3 lineup, and only 60 seconds left. You are so close to a victory. You can taste it. You can put yourselves on that series point. And folks, it's important to remember that these teams, anybody in the lower bracket, is fighting for their tournament lives. There is no more safety net. You cannot return to the upper bracket unless it is grand finals. Right now, it is a very tough situation. One of these teams has to win this.
It's always sad to have to knock out your own sibling team in these situations, but if one must go on, at least it's going to be one of your own friends and family, so to speak. Now
true.
It is up to the next 30 seconds whether or not we see a match point. Are we going to see an overtime? Will GFU Gold be able to even this up and find a 3rd goal, or are we going to see match point with GFUB in the match point position?
It seems like we're going to be seeing that match point position here for George Fox Blue in just a moment, as that one ticks to a 0, ticks to a game end. Game 1 coming to a close. George Fox Blue in the orange, going to be finding that Game 1 victory, and George Fox Gold keeping it close, but close, unfortunately, only counting in horseshoes and hand grenades.
Yes, that is one way to put it. We are now at match point. Very, very anxiety-inducing situation. Honestly, neither team can count out the other one just yet. That was a very close game. Some mistakes need to be cleaned up. Double commits definitely need to stop happening. We'll see how this next match goes. I do think, guys, can you, okay, populate on the opposite colors again. It's
No,
fine.
at this point, I'd rather they stay on the wrong color, because if they swap again, I'm going to get even... It'll be a whole thing. I'll lose my mind. I swear it. But hey, jumping
Valid.
in. Game 2 here. This could very well be the last game that one of these teams here this weekend. Only time will tell. 4:53 on the clock.
I'm really wanting to keep my eye on Love My Pancakes coming out here for GFUG, as during their previous game, they kind of came in as that secret sweeper that I mentioned, and they became a powerhouse, almost evening the scoreboard and finding the extra one necessary to clutch out the victory. However, they just couldn't quite get facilitated in the ways that were necessary, as they were chronically having to also be that defensive player at the same time. So let's see if someone will pick up that torch and allow Love My Pancakes to do what they do best and be that striker.
Ooh. Mikey, a great catch there onto Keenan, immediately passing ball control back over to GFB, and a goal off the back. I think that was somebody from the side of Team Gold trying to find it and get a little bit of momentum, but instead they knock it right into their own. Oh yeah, it's going to be... Oh no, okay, I thought Keenan had made contact with it. He just unfortunately could not catch up.
All right, that goal is scored in 44 seconds. Still plenty of time left on the clock, but right now, BFUB is currently in the lead by 1. Can they keep up this momentum? I sure hope so for their sake. However, for the sake of their sister squad, I hope they start swinging back.
Yeah, somebody's going to have to start swinging here, because George Fox Blue, they are 4 minutes away from a 2-0 victory and moving on to the next round, in which they will go up against... I actually don't know who yet. Whoever loses a game that hasn't happened yet. So a lot of hypotheticals remaining. Aries looking for an opportunity to strike early on to find that second goal. That safety net of a goal could go such a long way for GFB if they play to their cards right, but they still haven't been able to find it yet. Love My Pancakes trying to tie it up.
Ball is on the back third of BFUG's side of the field, though. They need to dig this one out. Keenan is trying to find that opportunity, slowing down a little bit. Has the ball popped over them, though, by Steve. Steve has it immediately swiped away by one of the BFUG players. Ball gets hit into that little awkward pocket, does a slight awkward ricochet. Kicker, though, Mikey with possession, plays around 1. Can they maintain possession? They will not. Will they have follow-up? They do from Steve. Steve centers it up. Is the rotation there in time from Aries? It is not. I love my pancakes, though, will get taken out. So Aries has a shot on goal. It might just roll in, and it will.
Well, it rolls in because Steve took out almost the entire team in demolitions. I mean, there's... Second one happened off to the left there, and the third defender just could not get there. Steve went on a rampage right there. He had decided enough was enough. He puts that second goal down. 3 minutes left. A huge opportunity for George Fox Blue to end this right here, right now.
Love My Pancakes just trying to find that first goal. We're not even crossing the halfway mark here in game number 2, but this is hot water for BFUG right now, as the other team is at match points. They need to fix this up and bring us to a game 3 if they want to see hopes of hitting that opportunity to go to the Grand Championship. However, it seems like BFUB has something to say about that.
We are now entering the second half, and I've mentioned the second half buff quite a few times tonight. I'd love to see that from George Fox Gold right now, because they need to score like they need their next breath to stay in this tournament. They are 2 minutes and 19 seconds away from going home. They're in round 1 of the lower bracket. Love My Pancakes with a great demolition, but ball control was not on the right side. Love My Pancakes with a second demolition. We've got a Steve impression if I have ever seen one, as we... The 1:20 marker here on the clock. This is where things get scary. Steve tries to find the third and final to really seal the deal, but that nail in the coffin has not been hammered in quite yet.
Kicker Mikey is looking for a touch on that ball. Instead, it's going to be Aries who gets it first. Steve off the back wall, goes to play it around 1. Can they play it around Love My Pancakes? They will not. The back wall follow-up from Keenan unfortunately hits an awkward ricochet and is bounced back towards the mid. Sweets now pops the ball up over 1. Can they play it around the number? They will not, because Steve is waiting on the ground to receive it.
90 seconds here. A very scary opportunity. I guess scary depending who you're rooting for, right? If you're a fan, I'm over the moon at the opportunity of this team walking away victorious. I think uncontested. I don't remember what the scoreline was back in game 1, but here in game 2, they are dominant like nobody's business. It is going to be 74 seconds remaining, and this can really just be a complicated game of keep away. George Fox Blue doesn't have to score anymore. They just have to make sure GFG doesn't.
Now is a fantastic opportunity to just tighten up that defense that they're going to have to be maintaining going into the upper bracket while returning into that championship position if they so choose. If they can make it there themselves, they need to be a solid team on all fronts, not just scoring goals, but preventing them from going in as well. So this is a chance in the next 45 seconds to prevent any opportunity for their sister squad of regaining footholds here.
40 seconds left, scoring once per 20 seconds to tie it up and keep your championship dreams alive. But as Sweets gets blocked out by Steve, we are entering the final 30 seconds here, Nerdy. This has become a now or never moment. The swan song ready to be sung. The nail prepared, but not in the coffin quite yet. And Keenan Gross tries to find it, but Mikey takes it away.
Love My Pancakes tried to get that ball across the midfield stripe, but just couldn't quite find the right angle to do so. Sends it to the corner, looking to get another touch on it, but the fly on the wall coming out from BFU B is just too strong. 5 seconds left. I think the nail in the coffin just happened. Steve finds goal number 3 with 3 seconds left on the clock.
And that is going to be all she wrote. Maybe somebody gets a kickoff goal, but that is not changing the outcome of this game here. George Fox walking away with 2-0 victory. Remember, George Fox Blue is the team in the gold, or in the orange after all. So there's a little bit of confusion here, but as soon as that ball touches the ground, it is over. George Fox Blue walking away with a victory, 2-0 here tonight.
Now it is time for George Fox Gold just to give their utmost respect to their teammates, wish them the best of luck, and say go win the championship now so we can at least say we lost to the best, because that is all you can hope for at this point. And hopefully they do stick around to cheer on their team for the remainder of the evening and the remainder of this tournament.
Without a doubt. And folks, y'all know the drill. We're getting ready to throw it to a break. We are quite a ways ahead of schedule. A lot of our staff are on the East Coast trying to get it done at a reasonable hour, and luckily all the teams and players have been so generous in helping us do that. We're going to throw it to a break, try to get our next game ready for you, and we'll see you right back here. What is going on, everybody, and welcome back. CECC qualifier, y'all know the drill by now. Septilence, Nerdy, and some Rocket League. We've got CSUMB up against Keyano College, and we are jumping right into the swing of things.
Ooh, and that first 50-50 is going to be run by Volt, but instantly taken away and volleyed back into the corner. Bang's going to pop it up and try to play it to their teammate. They managed to do it, but an awkward ricochet will mean a possession loss. Shot on goal, hits the crossbar, and passed over to the side.
Some great action coming out early, and this is the first time in a couple games we've gone more than 20 seconds without a goal on the board. Vitaly able to find that demo onto JKL, and this honestly might be one of our closest series of the day because both these teams have shown some serious power.
They have, and it does not look like either one is showing signs of exhaustion just yet, even though we are working our way into the later hours of this broadcast here. Vitaly looking to push this ball forward. Unfortunately, does have it spiked backwards. Ball gets dunked down at the midfield. Volt, though, sends it to the corner. It's still on the back third here, looking to find a clear. Will it happen? They managed to play it around one, and they have a cherry picker, but it's disrupted at the midfield stripe.
Volt's going for an early goal. LS there to catch it out in the blind eye. We're a minute off the clock, not a goal in sight. And Nerdy, honestly, this could be one of those series where we go quite a while without a goal, just because of how close these teams are in caliber.
I wouldn't mind seeing that. I know sometimes it may not come off as exciting, but honestly, that means that there's just a lot of calculations and precise gameplay happening between the teams, or just a lot of volleying back and forth. Either way, it can be fun, and it all comes down to what is the strength of either side and who can find their footing against that and find cracks in the shield, so to speak. Right now, though, we've got a lot of double commits coming out from CSUMB, and that could be something that we see Keyano College capitalize on going forward if they start to catch on to that.
Oh, what a shot from Volt. Definitely a little bit of luck off the back of that one, I think. I really want to get him to look at it. So up and off the corner, a double tap in off of Vitaly's pass. And that just so clean right off the right wall. A phenomenal goal to kick things off.
Absolutely perfect. Took a minute and 43 seconds there. Not as quick as we've seen in the past from Keyano College, but they definitely can put a lot of goals on the board, so that defense needs to be coming out strong for CSUMB.
CSUMB, like you said, they're going to be down one. The defense definitely starting strong, but you know, some of those shots are just too perfect or too lucky that the defense had no idea they were going to be coming. Entered 2 minutes off the clock now, getting danger close to that halftime, and only a single point on the board. This feels so weird compared to all the series that we've seen today.
We could see that one turn into many, or we could get to that tied one aside and stay there, dragging us into overtime, which honestly is what I want to be seeing now that we're getting so close to the ends of these initial bracket stages. And that is what these people want to be doing, is bringing their utmost best. As this evening is winding down, we're nearing the last games of the night. They can go completely gunning it, put the pedal all the way to the floor, and exhaust themselves just a little bit here. But they got to be careful that they don't overdo it and leave those goals wide open like right now.
Yeah, open goals are something that we've seen bite a couple of teams in the butt here tonight, and we definitely don't want that to be happening in the second round of the upper bracket. We are down to 120 seconds already. This game feels like it's flying by. We haven't had to look at 100 replays of the goals. Another great goal as we have second minute threshold. It's going to be a huge opportunity, a 2-0 lead right now for the side of Keyano College.
That was an assist from Volts to Vitali there. Minute 59 on the clock, plenty of time to bring back this 2-goal deficit for CSUMB. Can they do it, though, is the real question. They've got forward pressure, but it seems like the rotations just aren't quite where they need to be in synchronization with one another to follow up on shots on goal.
100 seconds left here on the clock, and Garrett's JKL desperate to find that goal. 100 seconds is more than enough time. That is eons in the world of Rocket League to find 2 goals, 50 seconds per goal. As we near this goal once again, it's not quite going to be where CSUMB needs it to be. They get very close, but it's like they're 90% of the way to a goal, and then they kind of drop the ball, and that just seems to be a bit of a pattern. Oh!
But it's not a pattern for Keyano College. Bang, it just slams that ball right into the back of the net, finding goal number 3. Basically, we've got 80 seconds left on this clock, minute 19, close enough. You know, there's still a glimmer of hope here. 3 goals in that amount of time is not impossible. We've seen it done time and time again in Rocket League, especially here in the collegiate space. It just comes down to cleaning up some of these rotations coming out from CSUMB. I know they can do it, but they're running out of time, as after this point, if they cannot gain their footing here and come back and win this one out, they will allow Keyano College to be at match point.
That is just the scariest thing about these best of 3s, Nerdy. We've talked about that quite a bit tonight. It's very traditionally in the world of Rocket League, we do best of 5s, but so we made sure every could get a chance on the screen, get a chance to play, make the bracket as smooth as possible. The CECC has best of 3 series, which means losing a game 1 gets very, very scary, because all of a sudden there's only 1 game left.
And we have yet again Volts being that playmaker, so to speak, setting the ball up, allowing Vitali to come in and just tap that ball into the bottom left corner of the net. 1 goal every 10 seconds is quite the Herculean task. They would need to score 1 right here off the kickoff, or they can kiss that opportunity to close this gap goodbye. Right now, honestly, I'm hoping CSUMB just gets that 1 goal for the morality purposes before we close out game number 1, so they know that they can gain a foothold in game number 2.
23 seconds left as the action is going down here. And like you said, game 1, unfortunately, we're going to have to see CSU kissing it goodbye without much to say, but luckily enough, they do have game 2 just over the horizon. They can win that, force us to our first game 3 of the day. Of the night, rather.
This is it. Ball touches the ground, and Keyano College walks away with the game 1 win here in our best of 3 series. Does look like Volts and Vitali are trying to prevent that from happening and score a goal number 5, which they did previously in other games. Oh, and a little assist there does get finally dunked down on the ground, and with that, Keyano College gets the game number 1 victory.
Keyano College bringing our tertiary final game to a game point. We're still in the upper bracket right now, so this is one of those games where we can look at it and be like, if you lose, it's not the end of the world. Of course, nobody wants to. Still not looking at the lower bracket. You've got that safety net of some other teams to go up against later on. And the team's already jumping into game 2, so we're going to take it right over there for you folks right here, right now. Game 2, Keyano College versus CSUMB. This could be Keyano's opportunity to score a spot in what I believe is the semifinals. Quarterfinals?
Our finals.
The winners' finals. That's what
the
winners' finals. I had to look at my silly little spreadsheet, but the winners' finals. Now it's 10 seconds. I mean, that's a huge, right? That is a very nerve-wracking to be in. 5 minutes, you can be in the winners' finals, but you can't let that get to you. You can't let that get to your mental. You've got to keep it calm, cool, and collected, like this team clearly loves to play.
Yeah, when I've talked to Rocket League players in the past, the biggest words of advice they've ever given is treat every game like it's 0-0 and play it to the best of your ability. Forget the scoreboard and just do what you do best, and that is play good, clean Rocket League. And if you're not having fun, you're doing something a little bit wrong, and you gotta fix that situation.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. The amount of players that the #1 advice they offer is look at every game as a GG, go next. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some, and you've just got to keep those wheels moving along. And I think that really is exactly what we're seeing here. We CSUMB to keep these wheels moving along, but it's Keyano College with that first goal. Once again, a huge opportunity now. 49 seconds off the clock, and they are already up 1-0.
And they win the kickoff. They don't maintain possession, though. Garrett immediately swoops in, trying to drag this ball down into the back there on the side of Keyano College, but it's immediately sent right back, and Aries was pushed too far forward. Thankfully, that fourth man came in clutch yet again from Vitali's shot, sending the ball back towards the midfield. Finally, Bang looking to rotate back, played around Garrett. They can't quite get the momentum right. Ball off the ceiling. Bang looking to dunk it down and send it to, I believe, Vitali there. And it is going to be stayed by Garrett and sent across the midfield stripe. They have the push, and LS finds goal #1 for CSUMB.
That is the first goal. Like you said, CSUMB are on the board, and we are back to, say it with me, chat, a complicated 0-0. You don't actually have to say it. I was just being facetious. But now the action coming through all of a sudden, you know. It's like Keyano College and CSUMB has shown a sign of life. It looks like that sign, it was about to be stopped as it was going to be another goal for Keyano College. But a great block out from LS keeps that dream alive. However, they are really struggling to get this ball out of the back third.
Garrett does the risky play of playing it across that back wall in front of their own goal. Thankfully, no one took advantage of it, but we've got all three members of CSUMB clumped up quite a bit. They need to spread out more in order to really capitalize on these clears that they're managing to make. It's just having that faith and trust in your fellow teammates to be able to find that clear and knowing you can take an opportunity to push forward and open space on the field. We do see a great shot on goal. Unfortunately, it's just a little bit too wide for anything to happen.
That little bit can absolutely go a long way. We are getting danger close into entering the second half, but this time CSUMB isn't staring down the barrel of defeat. They've got a real chance at clutching this out and at least tying it, at least drawing it overtime in 2.5 minutes, or taking a lead and forcing that third game like we want to see so badly.
We did just see an awkward double commit actually come out from Keyano College there, resulting in an opportunity for one player from CSUMB to elevate and just stop them both dead in their tracks. Garrett now playing it off the back wall, but the spider on the wall coming out from Keyano College prevents anything from being taken there for the side of CSUMB, as it's already back at the midfield. Volt's going for that off-the-wall play, trying to center it up for one of their teammates. Unfortunately, digging it out of that pocket was a little difficult as they had a lot of pressure on them. Volts goes in for the shot on goal. It is going to hit the crossbar, though.
That shot on goal could have been the deal breaker on either side, but unfortunately coming in quite yet. 120 seconds remaining here in our third to last series this evening, and one of these teams secures that spot in winners finals. Either Keyano College does that right here, right now, or CSUMB is going to be able to take us all the way to game 3. Either way, we have got a banger of a closer here. It's going to be Vital. 101 seconds left on the clock. Finding that second goal. They've got the lead, but Nerdy, can they keep it?
They can, but I'm noticing some awkward breakdowns in their offense that we weren't seeing earlier, such as the double commits. I've seen quite a few of them in the last 30 seconds. That could be a deal breaker for them maintaining this lead they have right now. Vitali, though, trying to get that lead to go a little further, gets the ball dunked down in front of the net, but it's turned away. Once again, we do see CSUMB all clumped up. Not something you want when you're trying to dig this ball out of the back third.
80 seconds remaining, and a great setup over goal there. That could have been the closer, the nail in the coffin for Keyano College, but unfortunately the follow-up was not there fast enough. We're getting danger close to that final 60 seconds, and Bang has to get in the way to make sure CSUMB does not tie us up once again. Nerdy, this is one of those nail-biter series. There's a 1-point potential. Everything is on the line right here, right now.
CSUMB is in the danger zone, and that third goal could be the final nail in the coffin, as you like to say, because with the pace of this game, with how long we have between these goals, yes, this one only was 49 seconds, but how long it's taken on average for these teams to score these goals, that 2-goal lead, that security goal could be enough.
Oh, LS goes for a deep goal early on there, just trying to knock the ball straight in, make it a 1-point differential again. And while we've got 25 seconds per goal, statistically speaking, that is absolutely possible. We just need to see CSUMB with a little bit more ball control, a little bit more aggression coming out. And unfortunately, I don't know if there's enough time to really make that play style change. They've got to just keep playing their tried and true, doing their darndest, and seeing what they can make happen in the next 30 seconds.
And we do want to reiterate that it's okay, whichever one of these teams ends up not coming out on top of this game, will have the opportunity to go to our redemption bracket and claw their way back to that championship match, but they'll have to clean up the things that they made mistakes in for this match in order to have that opportunity come to full fruition.
This is going to be a blink and you miss it moment, but it looks like that third goal is, that's a full, is going to roll in for the side of Keyano College. And you know, if there is ever a nail in the coffin with 9 seconds on the clock, that fourth goal is certainly going to be it. Keyano College is going to be walking into the winner, I guess driving into the winners finals against either Neumont or Colorado Boulder, but that game has yet to play or yet to be finished. So we will find out that as soon as we can. We will let all of you know. I believe that one is off stream. Nerdy, I've got to say, CSUMB putting up one heck of a fight here in the winners finals and in the winners bracket, excuse me. And like we said, just because they lost it here does not mean they're out quite yet.
Yes, they definitely have another opportunity, but there were definitely quite a few mistakes that they were making. I don't know if it was the pressure or it was exhaustion. I know that they can play better than what they demonstrated here. They can definitely go toe-to-toe with Keyano College. Let's hope that in the redemption bracket, those things get cleaned up. They recognize that mistakes happen, and they just GG go next, as we said earlier.
And guess what, folks? It's a break. Y'all know the drill by now. We've got 2 more series left for you here tonight at the CECC West Invitational. Not Invitational, qualifiers, CECC West qualifier. We'll see you folks right back here with our penultimate series in just a couple of minutes. Don't go far. What is going on, everybody, and welcome back. This is just in case you forgot what we like, because we're really running and gunning through these series. We're going to jump right back. Qualifier. I'm still Septilant, so that's Nerdy Bird, and this is going to be Colorado, University of Colorado Boulder, up against Neumont. Colorado, we saw 3-0 San Diego earlier tonight, and Neumont, this is their first appearance on the big screen tonight.
I'm excited to see what Neumont has in store for us because we've not been able to see them just yet. We have Throver and Yokes going in to find goal number 1 in due fashion. 15 seconds perfectly taken off the clock to find that first one. Let's see if they keep up this momentum going forward. As you said before, that first goal can be the beginning of that pendulum swing, or will it start to do the reverse sweep?
Will it start that reverse sweep? Like we said, that first game so unbelievable in us like this. Reminder, folks, still a best of 3. Everything we see will be a best of 3 tonight. Actually, I need to correct myself. Before we went to break, I said this was the second to last series. This is the third to last series. We have 2 more after this, I believe.
Yes, so you get to be with us a little bit longer.
I believe so. That was a little bit longer. Going for a goal on to Colorado's side. It could have been an opportunity to find that 2-0 lead, but instead it's going to be by Neumont to let one goal get through early, and their defense has stepped it up. Oh, as I say that, though, an open goal.
That's okay. 4 minutes, 5 seconds on the clock. More than enough time to rectify the mistake that we just saw. I mean, there was a defender going into position, but they did get demoed. However, I felt like they were too far back to even make a difference had they been present or not in that situation. But I digress. Plenty of time left on the clock to fix this situation and bring us tied to a side, or will we start to see this score just run away?
Oh, wow. I thought that was a shoo-in to go in. They were rooting and tooting, but Nerdy, they were not ready for shooting. It's going to be a 2-0 lead still here. Colorado took the lead early on. It looks like they're not getting ready to drop it. Instead, they look like they're getting ready to increase it. Oh, but Flover, that is a shame. Falls a little bit too. A couple of seconds late, and those seconds make a difference at the end of the day.
We have Keen trying to corral this ball in the corner before they can. One of the other players jumps over them, stealing that ball away. It's centered up, shot on goal. Flover, Colorado coming in hot, getting goal number 3.
I mean, that is threading the needle if I've ever seen it. A phenomenal. Look at this, right between. I mean, just a completely open available for the side of Colorado.
There's nothing you could have done with such a precise shot. As we go into this next 50-50, it does look like it's going to be one out momentarily by the side of Neumont. However, they quickly lose it once again to Colorado Boulder, dragging it down in front of the goal. Keen is finally going to find that clear for a few moments of reprieve, but Starvin gets a touch on it and stops that volley in mid-flight. Yoke's now centering it up, has a teammate coming in. They just overdrive it a little too high, but never mind. I don't know how. I need to see the replay here. What in the Nuggets just happened?
Yeah, what a pleasant surprise there. I mean, we see off the right corner, and boom, there comes Starvin swinging in. Going to be able to find that 4th goal online for Colorado, and only left on the clock. I mean, four goals, excuse me, in 2 minutes is a huge opportunity for Colorado to take an early lead and keep it.
And it does not show any signs of stopping. It does look like they are forcing the side of Neumont on their back tires, so to speak. They are heavily bunched up and corralled in, but they're turning it around as the hidden sniper finds goal number 1.
Goal number 1 for the hidden sniper, and with, I mean, well over half the game left to be played, there's a serious opportunity for the side of Neumont to come in and find some goals, tie things up, and really give Colorado a run for
the question is, can they do it given the time opportunity that is here? Shot on goal from Flover and a possible accidental own goal here. We'll take a look at this replay. Initial kickoff hits off the ceiling, and then yes, I do believe that was an attempted redirect to the side, but as we've said multiple times in this broadcast, doing that across the front of your own goal is such a hard and risky thing to do regardless. Either way, that ball was going in.
Yeah, I think that can very often be the most dangerous thing a player can do, is clear the ball in front of their own goal, because you truly are just setting it up for an opponent to come in and take it clean off for you. I mean, just put that goal away and give themselves a point.
We have Starvin looking to bring this ball into the net. They pass it to their teammate, almost perfect, but Keen is the guardian angel of the net, saves it at the last second, sends it up to the hidden sniper. Sniper now in the corner, leaves the ball for a teammate, but Starvin off the pop-up is going to be able to drag it across the midfield where I believe that was Keen waiting, but they left the net wide open, so Sniper yet again comes in, finds goal number 2.
The hidden sniper needs to change their name to the hidden striker. I mean, that is 2 goals in a row coming in hot here. They really are looking second half buff, but they are still down 3 points, 124 seconds on the clock. It's absolutely possible, but this is going to be an uphill battle until the very end.
We are still in our upper bracket series nonetheless, though, so whichever team comes out on top will just continue as usual and still have that opportunity to have a safety net. However, whichever team does not come out on top will have to go down to our redemption bracket and claw their way back up and not drop a single match. Though a 2-5 deficit isn't impossible to surmount in, you know, a minute and 95 seconds left on the clock, but it is not easy nonetheless.
90 seconds left here. A very large opportunity. I think 90 seconds, we're looking at 1 goal per 30 seconds. And almost Keen almost puts that goal down and is just going to fall a little bit short. Coming in quick off the midfield now. Flover trying to find something. It's not like they need the goal, but every counts, right? They want to establish a dominance early here in Game 1. And of course, winning Game 1 puts them 1 game away from that secured spot in the winners finals up against Keyano College.
Now we've crossed that 1 minute threshold, 60 seconds left on the clock. Can Neumont find the foothold they need and close the 3-goal gap? That's roughly, a dive bomb demolition takes place and down 1 player for 2.5 seconds. It's still not enough to capitalize on. Starvin loses possession, but their teammate still comes in to help out. Keen trying to crawl it off the wall, but it does not get possession.
No possession coming through quite yet. As we enter the 30-second threshold, we would need 1 goal per 10 seconds to turn things around here for Neumont, but University of Colorado Boulder going to win this first game, and like I mentioned, put themselves on a series point that really could work out well for this team at the end of the day, and I would love to see what they were able to do with that kind of action. Let's see what they can make happen.
9 seconds, 8 seconds, basically now ball hits the ground and it's over, but Pi on the steering wheel says, hey, don't count us out too much just yet. I'm going to close this gap a little bit more. Now only down by 2, those 6 seconds on the clock, you'd have to score 2 back-to-back kickoff goals. Not impossible, but quite a high I guess, pedestal to try and reach with such little time left on the clock.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's a much closer game than the scoreline was looking for a majority of it. I mean, we saw a 4-0 at one point. It turns around into a 5-3 to wrap it up. I think 8 points is one of our highest scoring games this evening. So really a good showing from both sides. We see 11 shots on goal to 9 shots on goal. So really a very close matchup. Colorado coming out on top with that 5-3 lead. And as we get ready to jump into the next series, it's going to be all about, can Neumont keep that momentum they found in the second half? They're all 3 goals scored in the second half of Game 1, but if they enter Game 2 with that same level of energy, they could be able to take Colorado to a Game 3.
I'm really hoping Neumont goes into this next game following the advice that we mentioned earlier that comes from like every well-seasoned Rocket League player out there, which is treat this one as a GG, no go next, and the next game needs to be it's 0-0. This is not match point. Play this to the best of your ability. Do not forget to have fun and make sure that no matter how this last one turns out, you still are able to walk away saying that you tried your best, because after all, neither one of these teams is out after this. They'll
Right.
have the redemption shot going through our lower bracket.
Yeah, and these games are always a little more enjoyable to cast than the lower bracket ones, just because I always feel so bad watching somebody have to walk away with that loss. But here, like you said, nobody goes home quite yet. Somebody secures a spot in winners finals. Somebody moves down to round 2 of the losers finals. And I think we'll actually see whoever loses this one more time tonight. But we'll have to wait and see if that's going to happen. 5 minutes back on the clock, Nerdy, here in Game 2. Colorado, they are 5 minutes away from securing that spot in winners finals. But can Neumont force out a Game 3?
Does look like Neumont is taking a different approach to this one. They were the first ones in the back third, but it does look like immediately turned around. Starvin's just going to score with 18 seconds just ticked away.
18 seconds ticked away, and a goal, like you said, already on the board. I mean, absolutely astonishing. Colorado comes in quick. They find that goal, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them find one more immediately out the game, just like they did back in Game 1.
They have that ability to just maintain momentum and tempo control so much here that they can run away with this score. However, I do hope Neumont plays the defense a little bit stronger, but also has that faith and trust I discussed earlier in one another to know someone's rotating to the back third. If you don't off the cuff know it's going to happen, be calming it. Asking, is someone going to the back third? Who's taking the back third rotation? And claim the space on the field that having that person going back presents for you.
Minute off the clock now. That 1 point still hanging over the heads of Neumont as we speak. A lot of ball control has spent its time hanging out with the University of Colorado. Starvin finds a great demolition, and the goal is left wide open. Flover, clean as clean can be, rolls it up through center field and dunks it right into an open goal.
We're kind of in a similar position as to where we were earlier in our previous match. 2 goals on the board. It's still well over half of this game left. Neumont is not out of this one yet. However, they are in the danger zone, so to speak, because of how long it took them to start getting that, that second round buff. I don't want the second round buff. I want the Game 2 buff. Now is the time to go no holds barred and give this everything you got.
Absolutely. I mean, you've got to empty all fuel reserves that you've been sitting on up to this point. It is a full-blown pedal to the metal, kick it into 5th gear kind of scenario. They need to put these goals away, and they need to do it early. Tying things back up 2-2 would be great, but it looks like it's going to be a goal from Pi on steering wheel that gets the action rolling. Now, all of a sudden, that safety net is gone from Colorado. There's a 1-point differential, and last time Neumont scored, they followed it up with 2 more almost immediately.
If they can keep facilitating Pi, I feel like they can definitely do it. You just can't force Pi to be the one going to that back post and being the defender, since they're such a playmaker right now. So long as that's being communicated, I have faith that Neumont can pull this one back. They've got the time to do it, and right now that score gap is not impossible to close. In fact, for Neumont, I feel like it's definitely a task that they're like, okay, come on, we got this.
Oh. There it is. Yokes just slamming it into an open goal once again. 2 minutes off the clock, and a great pass in from Starvin. The defender goes a little bit too far forward, misses the choke, and it's going to be the 3-1 lead now. Colorado, they're getting danger close. They're getting closer and closer by the second here.
That was one of those plays I talked about earlier, which is forcing that defender to make the move first, so you know that you have to go for the initial touch and the initial shot on goal, and then having that secondary touch follow through, knowing that the defender's not out of rotation and can't do anything to stop that ball from going in. But that also breaks down to, is the defense putting pressure on that secondary touch person or not? Because it seems like that secondary touch is not being anticipated right now by Neumont.
It's going to be another goal. Yokes getting warmed up once again here in game 2 of round 2 of the upper bracket. 4-1 scoreline right now. Last time we saw a 5-3 scoreline, and it looks like we're definitely on our way to at least another.
High on steering wheel, gets the ball across that midfield stripe down into the corner, has to dig it out around one of our Keyano players. They maintaining possession here. The spacing is almost there as well, but unfortunately it's already getting returned.
Oh, I thought that was a shoe-in to go in, but it's going to be knocked off to the side by Neumont. Now the goal open once again, but Neumont with ball control for the first time in a long time. How long are they going to be able to hold on to it? Flover there to catch it out. Yokes down into the left corner, and Flover immediately going to snatch it back away. High on the steering wheel, trying to find the goal, but Yokes there to block it back out. I mean, can we talk about how quick Yokes just went from offense to defense? At the drop of a hat, they had swapped roles and were ready to play that goalie.
They are definitely a powerhouse player, and I anticipate that tomorrow they might spend a little more time on the respawn screen, because the Demolition Derby game is definitely something that some players like to play when they know that you are a type of playmaker who's like, hey, get in my backpack and let me carry you through this game. So, Yoke, enjoy this now. I'm sorry in advance if you spend a majority of tomorrow on respawns.
Yeah, there's a good chance. I mean, that's one of my favorite play styles, like I talked about earlier, is that over-aggression, is those demolitions that really come in clutch when players need them most. Eliminating somebody from a 3v3, I mean, that is crucial. I think Starvin about to give us a great example of that, as it is from Flover to Starvin.
Beautiful.
Back to Flover. Beautiful is the word for a nerdy. Honestly, just a phenomenal. 84 seconds left on the clock. It is a 5-1 scoreline. In Colorado, they're just looking to send Neumont to the lower bracket. Neumont will have to go up against George Fox Blue if they're knocked into the lower bracket.
4 goals, 80 seconds. We saw this situation earlier. It's doable, but we need that second half buff to come through right now for Neumont. Otherwise, it is the good night to their story this evening. At least as far as being in the upper bracket goes. They'll still have their redemption shot, but the morality boost to be able to close this gap will also help them out going into that game no matter what. So let's hope they can get that, as Pie on steering wheel gets another goal. See, this is what I'm telling ya. We gotta just facilitate Pie.
Yeah, this one, I think, a little bit of luck, considering it is a technical own goal after all. But like you said, every time Pie touches the ball, it feels like it's rolling into goal, so I'd like to see this player just a little bit more in the driver's seat, pun fully intended. And a great demolition from Starvin early on to Hidden Sniper. Goes down, and that opens up the goal for Colorado. Once off the ceiling, twice off the crossbar, and 3 times into goal. No, the crossbar there to disrupt it once again. Pie now on the defense.
Overcommit,
Hidden Sniper, more like the Hidden Striker. No! Flover is going to be able to block that back out. 35 seconds left, and we are hanging at that 5-2 scoreline.
I really want to see Neumont close this gap. 2 goals in 30 seconds. That's 1 every 15. It's not impossible. It's difficult, yes, but I have faith that they can possibly do this. I want to see them bring us to our first game, number 3 of this evening. The Hidden Sniper is trying to make that dream come true, but all 3 members of Boulder have pushed in front of them to take that opportunity away.
Boulder, just a great job. They find the gap they need, they find the numbers they need, and they walk it home. Seconds left on the clock. 6-2, a 1-point differential from what we saw in game 1. It was 5-3. This time it's 6-2, so 1 more point tipping over in favor of Colorado, and they have shown their weight in gold here. They have proved their worth all the way down the line. They're going to be going into winners finals, which we'll see tomorrow as they go up against Keyano.
And Neumont will be dropping down into our second chance redemption bracket. They will lose their safety net of being able to lose 1 game. It'll be a little bit more stressful. However, they are not out of this tournament just yet. And I do believe we are actually going to be able to get to see them in our next game, correct?
Yeah, Neumont, I believe, and I may be wrong, Pratt will clarify this for us during the break, but I believe Neumont is going up against George Fox Blue in the lower bracket, so I think we'll be seeing them next. We're either seeing them or San Diego versus CSU Monterey Bay. So either way, we've got a great game coming up for y'all next. We'll see you right back here in just a couple of minutes with some more CECC Rocket League. What's up, everybody, and welcome back once again to the CECC West qualifier. Sept and Nerdy on the mic per the usual. This time we've got two familiar faces, or I guess 6 familiar faces. George Fox Blue against Neumont here in the lower bracket.
And we go to the first 50-50. It looks like it is going to go in favor of George Fox, and they immediately capitalize with Steve getting the assist from Aries, finds goal number 1.
Goal number 1 in quite literally 4 seconds. Steve finds an open goal and just runs with it, putting that goal away early. Again, we're looking at both sides of the same coin, right? It's like, oh, they scored on us, but at the same time, only 4 seconds off the clock. We've got nearly 5 minutes. We're back once again and at least tie things up, put us back at that 0-0 scoreline. Oh, there it is. Aries with a second dunk coming in quick from George Fox Blue. Neumont going down 2-0 early.
I don't know what George Fox Blue did during their break, what they ate. Maybe they hyped each other up, possibly slapped each other in the faces to wake one another up at this time of night with how long their day has been. But it is so far working. They are going no holds barred right now. They know this is their last opportunity to stay in this tournament, as we are in our second chance lower brackets right now. All the safety nets are gone, so the training wheels are off at this point. No one has room for mistakes.
No room for mistake. No room for mistakes at all, Nerdy. I can't believe it's only been 30 seconds. The game just long, and the 2 goals on the board, and now 2 turns to 3. No, a great shot, defensive play from the hidden sniper, keeping that ball alive and keeping that scoreline at a 2-0.
You have Aries here trying to dig this ball out of their back third. There's a lot of pressure being mounted on them from Neumont, though. Finally, Steve connects with it at the mid, but is thrown back. Ball is sent back also towards their back third, crossing the midfield stripe, finally squeaking by, but Keen was waiting there and immediately volleys it back.
Mikey going to be able to find a great demolition onto the hidden sniper, but is there going to be capitalization from George Fox Blue to make that worth it? And I hope you all noticed George Fox Blue is in the blue this time. Shout out to our producer/observer for that. Makes our jobs a whole lot easier. Aries now looking for the opportunity off the left corner, but going to be interrupted by the side of Neumont. A great defensive play. Neumont with ball control for 4 whole seconds before it's back in the hands of George Fox Blue.
Kicker Mikey G goes to pass it to Steve, and Steve finds the goal number 3 for George Fox Blue.
A minute 40 has dispersed. We have not even entered the 2 minutes off threshold, and we are already staring at a 3-0 scoreline. And I like what you were talking about earlier. What non-sponsored gamer liquid that George Fox Blue ingested during the break. But I mean, my goodness, these players are coming out large and in charge here up against Neumont. I think they know that this is their last chance. Every game until they are up in the, oh my goodness, every game until they are back in the upper bracket is their last chance. And they're ready to fight tooth and nail until the bitter end, until those final moments.
I'm very interested to see if the claws come out now in the form of demolitions as well, but they haven't seemed to have needed them. They are just out-rotating and outpacing Neumont right now, and the ball control is just absolutely incredible. They lose it for a second or two, and then it's immediately back in their favor. Ball is finally volleyed to the back third on the side of George Fox Blue field, but it is saved. Keen can't get a touch on it now. Kicker Mikey bringing it across that midfield.
There he's going to go up and over, trying to find some action. A great fake out there, but the third player, I believe that was Pi on the steering wheel, able to catch that ball out and put ball control back in favor of Neumont. A defensive play from Mikey. Has to play it slow, calm, cool, and collected, but you're still able to block that out. We've entered the second half, still sitting at that 3-0 scoreline, and it looks like it may turn into a 4 if they're not careful. The play was not lined up quite like it needed to be, Steve. Onto the hidden sniper, and now it's going to be that action. Nope, ball control back in favor of Neumont. I feel like the ball control in particular has been just flopping back and forth.
I really want to see Neumont facilitate Pi on the steering wheel a bit more. We saw them make multiple goals in rapid succession when they were given that opportunity and facilitated by their teammates, but right now it doesn't seem like that is what's trying to be done here. Pi is the playmaker, and I understand wanting to be the one to be doing that, but sometimes if you're looking for the success of your team, you have to admit when someone else is getting the better opportunities than you and relinquish that want to be the playmaker and allow them to do that.
Yeah, it is super important to identify that, you know, when somebody else wants to fill those shoes, find that opportunity that you're not able to, that you let them have that space. Because if two players start to, you know, collide, if we see a lot of double commits, that can bite a team in the butt. It's all about supporting those teammates as much as you can to make that action happen. And now 4-0, we are sitting at 84 seconds left on the clock. That is 1 goal per I don't know, 20-something, 21 seconds, I think. And this is just becoming a harder and harder task for Neumont right here.
Right now, I believe Neumont is just hoping for that first morality goal so they can go into game 2, knowing that they can stand a chance against George Fox Blue. George Fox Blue is firing on all cylinders right now, and it does not feel like Neumont has let the pressure mount on them, and the understanding that this is it. This is make or break moment for them every single one of these games, as you mentioned. And now is the time for them to, kick themselves in the rear a little bit and start making the big plays that are necessary in order to come out on top of this one.
It's also important to remember that George Fox Blue, their first opponent was Keyano College, who is now in the winners finals and has a very real chance of winning this entire tournament. So it might have just been an unfortunate luck of the draw. Maybe George Fox Blue is, one of our best teams here, and we haven't seen that happen quite yet, but they are getting ready for it. They are trying to make that happen. They've survived one round of the lower bracket already. They're looking to survive another, and a 5-0 lead in game 1 is a great way to start that off.
It genuinely feels like George Fox Blue has just upped their game every single match thus far, knowing that every single one is going to be harder. The stakes are higher, so therefore they must play even better, and they are doing the best that they absolutely can. The ball is in the back third right now, but they're currently leading by 5 with less than 30 seconds left on this clock.
Yeah, we are looking at 1 per 5 right now, and that is just not going to be a realistic expectation for any team. Mikey finding a demolition onto Keen, so maybe we see 1 or 2 more put away on the side of George Fox, but no matter how the cookie crumbles by the end of this, George Fox Blue finding themselves the victors of game 1, therefore putting themselves on series point, and that puts Neumont on their tournament lives.
And it does look like Neumont is going to close out this run with a big goose egg on that scoreboard. Not really something anyone wants to experience, especially coming off of that loss we just witnessed. So these guys have not really had a break, whereas George Fox Blue got a little bit of a breather. And unfortunately for them, that's the end of round 1. George Fox Blue now at match point. The question now is, how is Neumont going to answer to what they just had to experience? Are they going to completely change things up? Is there possibly, the opportunity to completely just say goodbye to the slow and steady rotations we see them making right now and just go, no holds barred, just rotate as quickly as possible and open those comms up as much as they possibly can?
It's going to be all about rotations and I think a little bit more communication. It felt like George Fox Blue, everything they did was intentional and calculated, and they really weren't playing on a whim, right? It felt like they were always ready to bring the action, and they had a plan in place. They followed through and made it happen every time. Neumont's definitely playing a bit more reactive, struggling a little bit to stay on par and on speed, really, with George Fox Blue. So we're going to have to see if they can really kind of mass up to that potential next time. We're going to be jumping into game 2 in a minute here. Could be our final game, or maybe we will finally, as we keep talking about, Nerdy, get that third game. That would be a phenomenal thing to see.
Yeah, calling back to what you said, during our Overwatch portion of this broadcast, we need Neumont to stop being the reacting team and they need to be the one creating the action here themselves instead of being the ones having to respond to everything that's occurring on the field.
10 seconds off the clock, so already a different game. At this point, we had 2 points on the board, I believe, for the side of George Fox Blue. They were really coming in hot in game 1, and they're playing it a bit slower in game 2, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that Neumont feels already, I don't know if there's just a change in the air, but it really is already ready to bring the action and bring the heat right up against George Fox Blue. That was almost a goal for the hidden sniper. It falls a little bit short, and it was close, but close only counts in hand, horse, and shoe grenades, so we have to find those a little bit more consistently.
Ball is right in front of Neumont's goal, and Steve is going to find it with the flick over to them from kicker.
A very surprising goal there, and I thought there was going to be a defensive block, but instead, like you said, it just kind of goes right up and over the defender. That's the first goal online, 4 seconds off the clock. Pressure's mounting. That's a goal on the lead, which puts George Fox in the lead, and that puts Neumont on their tournament lives down a single.
Aries bringing this ball right in front of the goal, looking for that tertiary touch from kicker. The goal is wide open. Kicker finds it. Goal number 2, 4 minutes, 7 seconds still on the clock.
4 minutes and 7 seconds on the clock here. A very unfortunate circumstance, and all of a sudden it feels like we're back in game 1, right? I said, oh, it's goal, but now this time we see 2 early goals, and it is going to be really hurting Neumont. They need to find something to answer back, or we may unfortunately have to say goodbye to them before we get to tomorrow.
The hidden sniper tries to come in and disrupt Kicker in mid-flight. They managed to do that, but the ball still ended up on its intended path. Aries now plays over one, goes for the dunk, and pops it into the goal. Assist from Steve, returning the favor from earlier, allowing Aries to finally get a goal for themselves. Now up by 3, a little less than 4 minutes on the clock. This seems like a repeat tale of what we saw earlier, but if there is a time to start the reverse sweep, to swing the pendulum in the other direction, Neumont needs to do that now. It is time to just change up the game plan and go at this like it's a whole new animal and attack like a completely different beast.
Without a doubt, you've got to attack this, like you said, like a brand new beast. Everything is a GG go next, and the hidden sniper hitting the strangest angle I've ever seen. Goal looks like it bounces up and off of Mikey, off the ceiling into goal, but that is a point on the board nonetheless here, Nerdy. 3:40 still on the clock. This is all of a sudden the sign of the lighthouse in the storm that Neumont needs to force a game through.
And Neumont actually wins the kickoff as well. Can they maintain that going forward? Aries tries to drop it down. Unfortunately, the cherry-picking positions coming out from George Fox Blue are just playing into their hands right now. You cannot allow these players to be rotating forward like this without pressure on them. Designate who is on who in these moments and ensure that no one is open like that, because 2 players from George Fox Blue had 0 pressure on them.
3:30 now and counting. That clock will continue to tick down until the bitter end. It is going to be a lot of action coming out here from that midfield. Keen has an opportunity to get that ball away from their own goal, but can they find the follow-up? We've seen this story quite a few times where ball control is in favor of Neumont, and then they struggle to really find that shot on goal. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about.
Keen now has possession, gets booped around, loses it. Get a shot on goal from Kicker. There's a follow-up touch, and because of that first save, the secondary is borderline impossible, so Aries finds goal number 5.
Number 5, and that's even with 3 minutes left, Nerdy. Like, that might be a nail in the coffin kind of goal. You were looking at a 4-goal differential here. 3 minutes left, and right now, I just don't see George Fox Blue slowing down for you.
I do not think they intend to either, honestly, Septilence. They want to increase this gap and just ruin all hopes that Neumont has of making it in out of this redemption bracket and going to the Grand Championships. They are here to stay, and they are definitely making themselves known right now with this just level of play and the amount of goals racking up on that board.
There we go. We're entering the second half of the game now. We have just entered below that 230 margin with a 4-point differential. You've got to know George Fox Blue is feeling good about this.
I mean, you can't be sitting more comfortably than a 5-1 lead. The only way you would lose this would be an absolute, complete, total breakdown of all the core mechanics that this team has demonstrated, which honestly have been extremely clean. During our other series, we saw them, and there was a few moments of slight just miscommunications and double commits, but that's not even happening here. They said, hey, we got called out on it. We can't let that happen again. It can't be that obvious. We got Kicker dragging this ball down, carrying it into the net. Just the perfect dunk right across the goal line. Now we are at 6-1, 6-1, little less than 2 minutes on the clock.
6-1, like you said, less than 2 minutes on the clock, and the action is absolutely in George Fox Blue's favor. This has been a dominant series from them, and I think they really have shown us that they just got a very unfortunate seeding against Keyano College early. They are desperate to fight their way back up into that upper bracket.
We have Keen rotating a little too far forward, allowing Steve to just push that ball in, and yes, it is a Brazil.
Shocking that we've seen, what, 9-10 series of not Overwatch, Rocket League today, and it's the first time we've seen a Brazil. I know we saw a 7-2 at one point. I know that we saw a 6-1, but this is the first time we've seen a Brazil today.
Let's see if we close this one out with the 7-1 scoreline, or if Neumont has something to say about that. Yes, I do believe you and I probably can agree on the fact that closing the 6-goal gap is probably borderline impossible. Yeah. However, they can close it up a little bit.
Without a doubt. I mean, they can close it up a little bit, maybe for, general morale. This is really going to be a tough game to walk out on, because this is the lower bracket after all. And George Fox Blue, they are not pulling a single punch here, Nerdy. They are trying to prove a point. We do not belong in this lower bracket, and we will take down anyone who stands in our way to get back to the top.
As we are about to cross that 1 minute mark, we've got Aries looking for another opportunity to swoop in and find a goal number 8 for their team. Ball is getting pushed forward into the back third of GFUB's side of the field, but beautiful passing is happening in team coordination now just to make play and keep away from Neumont College. Even though the ball's on their back third, it feels like it's fully intentional now, finally crossing that midfield stripe.
Mikey tries to go for another one, trying to really seal the deal, as was not sealed long ago. 7-1 scoreline now, 30 seconds left on the clock, and George Fox Blue have secured their spot in the next round of the lower bracket. They'll only have one more opponent to go up against. We'll have to find out who that is later tonight. I know they're waiting on UCSD and CSUMB play their game. I'm not sure if that started or finished, but all things considered, this is going to be quite the journey if they can win that next one. As well, 5 seconds left.
What?
A goal for Mikey takes away the Brazil, but turns it into an 8-1 scoreline. And this is easily the highest scoring game that we have seen here tonight.
I believe so. Holy McNuggets, that is a lot of goals. Yes, George Fox Blue, we understand. You're sending a message. It is received, okay?
Yeah, message heard, my friends. It is very clearly all about George Fox Blue. They took down their own sibling to be here, and they will take down anyone else who stands in their way to get a shot at that regional once again, at that national, George Fox Blue walking away with a 2-0 victory on that matchup. They'll be going up against somebody in just a bit, but I've got to say, Nerdy, I am just blown away with how this team has turned this around.
I mean, truly it was incredible, but George Fox Blue, I mean, you just said it. They had to take out their sibling squad here in our lower bracket to continue forward, and there is no other due justice nor honor that they can give to their sister squad by saying, hey, know that we are going to go as hard as we possibly can and take this as seriously as possible moving forward, because now that you're gone, we're all that's left. Please support us in this and we will win this out for you. We are one big esports family, and this title doesn't just belong to this 3-man squad, it belongs to all of us.
Absolutely, Nerdy. I could not have said it better. But folks, we're going to be throwing it to another break. This one going to be a little bit longer. We have to wait for UCSD and CSUMB to wrap up their series before we can kick off our final series of the night. So don't go far. We got some more Rocket League for you in the near. We'll see you soon. Hey everybody, welcome back to the CECC West qualifier. I can give you the bad news or the bad news. Unfortunately, these games are going to be happening off stream, not only because like 10 hours, and as we do this for a living, it's very important that we take care of ourselves physically, but player schedules just aren't lining up appropriately enough for us to make these games happen on stream tonight. Good news, we'll be back tomorrow, not only with Overwatch and and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate as well. So please drop a follow on the channel, drop a follow on Esports if you can. And if you want to follow Nerdy and myself, well, we wouldn't stop you. A huge shout out to Geet and Orca, our producers/observers in the back line. They have been here with us just as long as we have been here. Thank you to all the teams that we have seen today. Thank you to all of you for watching. We love each and every one of you very much. Check your posture, drink some water. Don't forget to love each other, and we'll CECC you tomorrow. What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the CECC West qualifier, but this time, Rocket League edition. I'm still Septilence, joined by the Nerdy Bird, and we have got a banger of a series to start things off. Colorado going up against Keyano to secure a best-of-5 victory to secure a spot in those grand finals.
Really interested to see how these teams decide to go about this game versus what we've seen all day yesterday, which is kind of just lots of back and forth. Are the rotations going to be clean? Is there going to be spatial control here? It does look like there is quite a bit of that with the double commit on the back line there coming out from, I believe that was Boulder's side of the field. No, that was not Boulder.
Boulder in the blue. Oh,
yeah,
looking
Boulder's
for a
in the
great
blue
opportunity, but they're going to be falling just a little bit short. Yokes coming through off the right corner, trying to find a setup, and the disruption from Keyano goes a long way. Already, this is a game one, and we're seeing a lot of back and forth, a lot of physicality, and that physicality, as everybody knows, is a personal favorite. I love to see those teams go above and beyond. What a disruption from Bang there. That goal was a shoo-in.
Yoke stopping the ball at the mid, but it does get popped back over them by one of the Keyano players. Dunked down in front of the goal, shot on, a little bit too far to one side from Vital, so that crossbar saves it for the side of Boulder.
Just a banger of a performance so far. Both teams had 2 shots on goal, both blocked out by last-second defensive clutches. We're already a minute off the clock. If that minute tells us anything about the rest of this series, it is going to be a good one. Flover, a demolition onto Volt's going to be opening up the goal, and the goal will be scored. Yokes off of Starvin is going to find that first goal for the University of Colorado Boulder. Minute 16 off the clock.
Right now, yesterday, typically we had seen multiple goals on the board by at least one team. However, we had one matchup yesterday where it was a lot more slow and methodical. We could be seeing a repeat of that where it's kind of very low scoring. That's not a bad thing. It's very telling that the players are trying to be more calculated with every single move that they're doing and making sure that they're shooting this ball with intent. We'll have to wait and see those. Yokes corrals this ball down, dragging it to the ground. Pops it up over one, but they can't get it around Bang. Bang now pushing forward, just colliding with Flover. So ball is still on the back third here of Keyano's side of the field.
Oh, turns into a back third into a goal there. Colorado putting themselves up 2-0. We are not even 2 minutes into this matchup. And Colorado, they love to do this. They love to score twice early. We saw this like probably 4 times yesterday. And then they probably won't score for the rest of the game, whether it's intentional or not. They have ended many games at a 2-0 or 2-1 scoreline. Let's see if they can break that curse here today.
I mean, if you can prevent any possible goals going in from Keyano, you don't need to score any more goals. That's fine.
Very true.
They have one, and then they have the security to prevent the tie from happening and bring us into overtime. But it does look like Yokes is going to go for another shot on goal here. Plays around one, barely plays around the next, and still is able to play that off the ground. Gets goal number 3 for themselves. Nicely done.
Yeah, I mean, that is just a huge opener. That's maybe a hat trick. I believe all 3 goals have been from Yokes. I may be incorrect on that, but it's still 3 points for Colorado. Nonetheless, we have just entered that 2 minutes off the clock barrier, and the pressure is certainly mounting against Keyano here. A very dominant team yesterday, but Colorado going to show that they are looking to run all the way through this undefeated. Volt with a great air dribble off kickoff there, brings it up and over the defender straight into goal.
Volts and Bang. Bang getting the assist over to Volts. It's a pretty standard combo from Keyano College that we've seen quite a few times. So those two facilitating one another can be fantastic. Let's see if they can keep doing that. They're just down by 2. We're not even into the second half of this first game yet. We might see another goal happen. The ball is still in the mid. Bang goes to get a touch on it. They can, but they can't get it past Yokes. Follow-up touch, though. Still keeping it in the back third here on Boulder's side of the field. Finally crosses that midfield stripe. Flover pushing forward, but can't get to that ball in time. Starvin can't either. Now in the corner, we got Bang looking to center it up for a teammate.
It is just a back-and-forth, neck-and-neck game of keep away. Both teams desperate to hold on to that ball control for more than, 5 seconds, but it is so back and forth. The opponent's always there to catch it out. Vitali able to clear it away from goal. Very smart to not clear it down, as we've seen many players make that mistake before. Yokes with a phenomenal setup, the crossbar. Starvin able to take it in. Yokes probably a little bummed out the crossbar caught it, but Starvin there to find that 4th goal for Colorado. They are up 4-1 with only 2:14 left on the clock.
That gap is getting bigger and harder to close the more time that ticks off that clock. We typically have seen Keyano put a few goals in by this point in time. That just goes to show the defense and the offense coming out from the side of Boulder is something that's very difficult for them to deal with.
2 minutes remain, and Keyano, they found 1 goal, and it came entirely off the back of an individual play. I think it was Vitali who took it right up and over off the back of a kickoff and sunk it into goal. Volt being demoed now should be an opportunity for Colorado to get that ball control back in their favor. We are nearing that 100 seconds on the clock. The pressure is continuing to mount against Keyano. If they lose game 1, that's a very scary scenario. Actually, I'm not sure. I believe today is best of 5s, right? Not best of 3s. So losing game 1 is back to that old Rocket League style. It's not going to be the end of the world.
Yeah, and considering that there's a lot on the line, if you make it past this game, it comes down to metered aggression and, monitoring your energy levels throughout the entire course of this game. Are you going to be able to make sure that you can play out a full 5-game series, or are you giving your all too early and gassing yourself, allowing for that reverse sweep to open up?
Colorado, they are 1 minute and 6 seconds away from putting 1 point on the board. And again, it's important to remember that that no longer puts them on tournament point like it did yesterday. It'll actually cause a little bit more momentum necessary for them to find that success. They'll have to win not only 1 more game, but 2 more. And as we near down to sub a minute, we're looking at what, 1 goal per, 20-something seconds. I'm not very good at the maths, but I know that there is not a lot of time on the side of Keyano College to win this first game.
No, but they did. Volts just managed to take away another goal scoring opportunity there from Boulder. They're going to pop it up, play it around 1. They're trying to play it to Vitali. Vitali didn't get a touch on it completely, but what still is counting as their shot on goal with the assist from Volt. Never mind, it was assist from Vitali to Volt after Volt initially passed it to him. So that's goal number 2. 1 goal roughly every 17 seconds right now. Means we gotta get one almost immediately here. Let's see if Keyano can manage to do that. They did get the kickoff win, but they don't have the follow-up speed, so Starvin's gonna get the possession first.
Starvin with an early possession. It's actually snatched away by Keyano, but as we're entering that territory, 1 goal per 12 seconds, it becomes harder and harder. A great setup to crossbar in the way. The follow-through goes up instead of out, and all of a sudden the ball is up for grabs in the midfield, battering toward the goal of Colorado, but they are there to play that hard defense when they need to as we enter the single digits. It is all but impossible for Keyano to win this first game. Colorado with a very strong showing. In Keyano, I've got to say, a 4-2, I mean, truly not that bad. We saw teams yesterday being 7-1, 8-0, to only lose by 2 points in the first game definitely shows signs of life. Okay, 3, but we're hardly going to count that one. It was in overtime.
Yeah. Starvin, I get it. You want to be flashy. You carried it in. Nicely done. You did the thing. But now we move on to the game number 2. No one at match point, as you mentioned, which is a better situation to be in. Let's hope that was just kind of like a warm-up, feeling out Boulder for Keyano, and they can bring this one back and bring it back a little bit harder than they did in this first game, because they need to get that scoreboard tied early on. They can't just let Boulder get 2 up on them, because once that happens and you've crossed into that back half of the match, it gets difficult to close that gap.
Yeah, absolutely. It's hopefully, like you said, kind of a traditional game one in the sense of Keyano getting a feel for their opponent, trying to get a good understanding of what's happening around them, and now entering game 2, maybe they're able to take advantage of Colorado's play styles, their predictabilities, and just their overall level of aggression. Colorado, a very scary team because they are incredibly aggressive, but at the same time, they never leave their goal open. Yesterday, we saw a couple of teams that were nothing but aggressive, and then they leave their goal open in the process. It was very easy to punish them afterwards. Colorado, they don't play like that. They have 2 aggressive strikers, and somebody is always chilling in their back third to protect that goal.
Keyano is one of those teams that's actually a little bit guilty of leaving that goal open. We've seen the camera turn and seen that goal wide open even during this match, so they got to be careful not letting that happen. Yokes is going to drive this ball into the corner, take it off the wall, drops off the ceiling though, so they lose out their possession. Bang tries to get a touch on it, can't quite find it, so Starvin swoops in. Boulder still in the back third of Keyano's side of the field, looking to try and find a goal scoring opportunity. Double commit on the defense there. They are going to finally manage to get the ball to the midfield stripe though for the side of Keyano, but it's immediately back in the back third.
Lover has an opportunity on goal, but it's not going to be the lineup that he's looking for. Vitali finds the block. We're a minute in, not a goal in sight. Now, around this time last time, I think Colorado had already found their first goal on the board. So the history has been rewritten. The story has been changed a little bit, and it's not Colorado with that immediate early ball possession and ball control. Yokes trying to put that goal away. Volts with a phenomenal disruption, passing ball control into Keyano's hands for just a moment, but it's just going to be that constant back and forth, that constant raging battle between who can be that striking team, who can be the offensive team.
Right now, this ball spent a lot of time in the back third of the side of Keyano's side of the field, not a situation they want to be in. They're committing to having a goalkeeper now, which is great to see. Volts gets a demolition, opening it up for 2.4 seconds now. Is this the opportunity to get it across that midfield area? It is not. A double commit comes out for a moment, and it does result in Vitali actually getting taken out in that instance as well.
And those demos are so scary because while it's only, like 2.5, 2.4 seconds, it's going to be forcing somebody else to all of a sudden fill those shoes, fill the position of the player that's been demoed, because often a demolition leads to ball control in favor of the opposing team, and that's exactly what Colorado was looking for with that demolition. Lucky enough, Keyano found a great opportunity to fill in that slot early and then make space for their teammate to respawn and just kind of fill in the open gap rather than rotating all around to these proper positions. Flover finds a demo onto Bang, but it's Vitali who takes out Starvin, passing ball control directly back into Keyano's hands as we enter the second half. Somebody has got to put a goal down one way or another. Oh, speaking of!
Oh, the shot on goal saved by the crossbar.
The crossbar has been such a menace this weekend, just absolutely demolishing the hopes and dreams of these players. And Vitali, that was an open goal, a phenomenal shot. Well, an inch too high, unfortunately, cost them. That's just the name of the game, after all. And like we talked about yesterday, you've got to be an engineering major or an engineer in real life to really figure out how to make the magic happen with this ball and the dynamics.
Right now, though, no one has got a single score on the board just yet. It looks like Keyano is trying to find it, but it's already back on their side of the field, nearing their goal. Hopefully they find it clear right away, or otherwise Boulder's going to capitalize on this and try to find their own goal-scoring opportunity. Ball is at the midfield, immediately returned by Flover. It's volleyed, but it is going to be stopped by Starvin at the midfield stripe again.
Oh, Bang almost has it, but
Yokes.
able to knock it up and above the goal. Bang now with a great demolition onto Flover. Bang really living up to the name on that one. Coming through, 90 seconds left on the clock. Colorado forced into a tough defensive spot. Keyano continuing to pepper it on goal. Vitali knocks it in with only 91 seconds remaining. Keyano going up for the first time this series.
Let's see if they'll be able to take this momentum going forward and get another goal for themselves. They are not out of the water just yet. This is an easy buzzer beater opportunity to just bring us to a tie and take us into overtime. Let's see what happens after this kickoff, because that was a long, drawn-out first goal.
Yeah. I mean, what, 3.5 minutes for that first goal to make an appearance? That is not what you want to be thinking when you're on the side of Colorado. You want to score early, but it is Vitali again putting it away, almost guaranteeing us a game 4. Colorado has to wake up a now or never if they want to win this second game, or it's going to be tied up 1-1 on the series.
And it was yet again assist from Bang, kind of the Mario Vitali as well as Emerald Lagasse duo coming in there to make that second goal happen. Let's see if they can find a goal number 3, or if they're just going to sit pretty with that 2-goal lead and wait the rest of this game out just with clean passing and maintaining ball possession as well as field control. They need to get this ball to the back third, though, because that is a double commit that opens up a goal-scoring opportunity. Thankfully, it was pushed forward just far enough to allow it to cross that midfield.
Flover with the demolition puts ball control for a moment back in Colorado's hands, but that was almost a goal from Bang. The hat trick there, the team hat trick rather, would have been the nail in the coffin. Vitali looking for another one, trying to find that goal, but it's going to be Bang who sneaks it in underneath. A 3-0 lead for Keyano right now. They're going to keep this momentum rolling, and they are looking almost guaranteed now, Nerdy, to tie us up 1-1 on the series.
I mean, you've got roughly, I want to say, what, 18 seconds per goal right now. If we're looking at Boulder to equalize this one out, that's a tough task to mount considering how long it took even for them to get goals in the previous game that we had with them. So right now, yeah, I do believe that Keyano has this one on lock. They just have to make sure they don't give up easy goal scoring opportunities. Shot on goal coming from basically midfield is going to be a little bit too far to one side though to actually roll in.
Yeah, a little bit too far off to the side there, and I don't think anybody's beating themselves up. You're still up 3-0. We need a goal per 10 seconds right now from Colorado if they want an attempt to tie it up, let alone take the lead and put themselves on at series point. A phenomenal showing from Keyano, and I feel like their teamwork, their team communication in particular, they were impressive yesterday, but they are even more so today. Every goal we've seen has been off of a pass or off of a corner shot. It has been very impressive how consistent they have been with their team communication.
Seems like in that first game they struggled a little bit to find their footing. There was the one Vitali solo play that we got, but now it's been Vitali to Bang or Bang to Vitali, just facilitating one another, doing that passing, relying on the people that exist on the field, because at the end of the day, you know, this is a team game. There's 2 other people there with you, and utilizing the skills and the just field control that that gives you is very huge. And you can't be a solo player in any of the events that we have here for this tournament. Otherwise, that can be your team's downfall.
Yeah, and, you know, looking at this scoreline, we see 5 shots on goal from Colorado and I believe 6 on goal from Keyano. And you have to think, you know, looking at those, you think, oh, well, clearly, you know, Colorado has to play their defense a little bit stronger. But it wasn't that Colorado's defense was failing. It's that Keyano's offense was so far ahead. I mean, that pass play where it was the immediate drag down into Bang, who found that goal. No defense in the world was going to be able to predict that. And I think that is really what could give Keyano the competitive advantage moving forward. A huge early goal, but no, Bang is going to get caught out by Yokes. This is a really important game, Nerdy, because whoever wins this puts themselves on series point. And the loser, they'll be down, but not out quite yet. They'll have to go up against George Fox Blue in the lower bracket finals.
And we do see a shot on goal.
Oh!
And it goes in. That might be an unfortunate ricochet own goal, but I'll reiterate what I said yesterday. Being there or not being there doesn't make a difference. Yeah, right. At that point, it would have gone in had you not been there. It went in with you being there. It's okay. It happens. It's just keep going. We cannot let Boulder, though, get that momentum swing and immediately score a goal number 2, or they're just going to start running away with this scoreboard like they did in the game 1 of this series.
In both these teams, momentum very clearly seems to be the name of the game. When they get to be the proactive instead of the reactive, when they get to be the strikers instead of the struck, it really works out well for them. But the second one of these teams loses an advantage, it really seems to crumble, at least from the very small sample size that we have of these teams so far. The first team that scored was the only team to score and was the team to win. So let's see if that pattern continues true here once again.
We got another demo coming out from Bang onto Yokes there. Flover, though, is not giving up, trying to get this ball into that goal, but that flat angle is so difficult to block without a secondary touch. Volt, though, gets the save from Starvin shot on goal.
Sorry, I didn't mean to yell like that. That was just such a clean play from Starvin. I really thought that was a shoe-in to go in. Volt with a phenomenal defensive block gets in the way of the ball and honestly spiked it right back out. It just kept all of its momentum bouncing off the hood of Volt's car. An opportunity there for Colorado to score once again in the midfield. It goes over, and it's in! Flover taking that second goal. 1:11 off the clock, and Colorado already finding themselves up 2-0.
They're in that position they were in at the first game. This is almost identical to what we saw then. See if there is that back half buff coming in for either one of these teams. Will Colorado start to run away with the scoreboard, or will Keyano catch back up? Keyano is capable of doing it, but they are now being the reactive team rather than proactive team as Flover finds goal number 3 for the side of Boulder.
Goal number 3 for Boulder. That is just a clean way to start things off. And I can still say start things off because we're hardly 90 seconds into the game. Colorado, they are really looking strong here. Game 2, they didn't put a single point on the board, but clearly they were saving all of them for Game 3. And a Game 4 is shooing no matter what. Is there going to be a Game 5? That's the question on everybody's minds. And Nerdy, it's important to note as well that the longer this series goes, the more fatigued one of these teams is going to get, because the loser of this is going immediately into the lower bracket to go up against George Fox Blue.
And that is not really something you want to be dealing with, because the exhaustion starts to hit at that point. You're giving these games your all, considering that this is your ticket to that Atlanta tournament.
Right.
And with that in mind, I mentioned at the start of this series, how much are you moderating your aggression and your energy exposure here in order to maintain a lead or even get the opportunity to be in the lead is important to keep in mind.
And also, something that I realized while you were talking is, not only does the loser have to go up against George Fox Blue, but if they win, they've got to go straight to grand finals. So this is really going to be a game all about fatigue, depending on, of course, that George Fox Blue. But that team, except for losing to Keyano, has been untouchable so far. So that'll be a phenomenal series coming up next after this one. But we got to focus on what's happening in front of us. That back half buff getting ready to make an appearance. Vitali trying to put the second goal away. It's knocked away by Flover. A great all-around player. I really do want to tip my hat to Flover. Great offense, better defense, and really a power player on the side of Colorado.
Oh, the goal is left wide open by Keyano, allowing Yokes to find goal number 4 for the side of Boulder. We mentioned it earlier, not leaving that goal wide open. This Volts defender comes forward but can't find that full touch on the ball, and it just goes right past them. That's that pull the defender out and then get the secondary touch play that I discussed yesterday, and it's something that still is going to be seen today.
2:30. We now enter the second half of the game, and that open goal, like you said, it is just really starting to beat down on Keyano. They've got 2.5 minutes. That is eons in the world of Rocket League, but as that score continues to grow, now 5-1, it becomes harder and harder for them to tie it up, let alone even try to take a lead.
This might be a GG go next type situation for the side of Keyano. I mean, this is still a best of 5. Yes, this will put Boulder at match point, but that is not the end of the story just yet, because it is, you know, it's not the 3-game series. They have to go the distance of the full 5, possibly. I mean, we will see at least 4 because Keyano has a 1 game under their belt, but let's hope they can start bringing the score at least a little bit closer together for the momentum as well as morality boost going into the next game.
Morale boost could be the name of the game, and it's all about, you know, we've said it 1,000 times, but I'll say it one more. Every game has got to be that GG go next, and Vitali trying to give a sign of hope here, a little bit of a showing. We've got 2 minutes left on the clock, 120 seconds remain. 1 goal per, what is that, 40 seconds, I think?
No.
Oh, okay, well, I'm not doing the math on that anymore. I think this game has got to be one of those GG go next.
Yeah, 110 seconds left on the clock. That's a difficult task to make 5 goals in that amount of time. I think that's like a goal every 22?
I don't know. It is a goal every not so easy. That much I'm sure of. We've got now down to those final 100 seconds on the clock. We're looking at 1 goal per 20 seconds. So yeah, you were pretty close with that original approximation. And Nerdy, Colorado, I mean, it's shocking how they lost game 2 3-0, but they come out and they're ready to 6-1, maybe 7-1 game 3.
We got Volt still trying to keep that dream alive of getting another goal in. They have the opportunity. The follow-up touch is going to come through, and Vitali with the assist from Bang yet again will find goal number 2. Now they're just down by 4. Still a really big gap to bridge in a short amount of time with how long it's taken these goals to find their way into the net here. Not impossible, but very difficult.
Yeah, 1 goal per 21 seconds. Once again, they've added a little bit more time to their bank, but we are just watching the hourglass slip away. 6-2, 80 seconds remaining, and there's absolutely a world where they can put down 4 goals, but up against a team like Colorado, I'm just not sure that's the world we're living in.
Shot on goal from Flover, turned away by Bang. Now ball in the back third here on the side of Colorado. Ball off the back wall, secondary touch from Vitali, not quite at the angle they needed it though, and all 3 members of Keyano are here on the side of the field for Colorado Boulder. Not what you want to be seeing. The overcommits on those goals open up wide opportunities for a great clear to result in a goal. Bolts does save Yoke's shot though, Starvin not giving up just yet.
Not giving up quite yet. We're down to 45 seconds, which is about the official nail in the coffin here against Keyano here in Game 3. But bright side, best of 5. They'll be down, but they certainly will not be out. It'll be a 2-1 scoreline after this game, and Colorado will be on series point to walk away with that first grand final spot.
We do have Bang take out Starvin. Vitali can't keep their dribble with them though, so Volts now with possession. It's going to be pushed forward off the back wall with a secondary follow-up touch from Flover. Shot on goal, saved by that crossbar. Tertiary touch from Yokes though from Flover. Finds goal number 7.
Now, it's unfortunately not the Brazil, but it is currently tied for our highest scoring game this weekend. We have seen a couple of games go to 9, and nobody has hit those double digits quite yet. And with only 13 seconds left, I'm not sure that's going to be happening here in this game. But either way, I do know Colorado has absolutely got this in the bag.
Yeah, the nail in the coffin was at the 45-second mark.
Yeah.
You literally can't score a goal every second here in Rocket League. It's just not how the mechanics of this game work out. So with that, we will have Boulder now at match point and Keyano looking to claw their way back and swing this one around in their favor.
It's going to be a tough one, but Keyano, they did it once. You know, clearly there are some cracks in the armor here on the side of Colorado, and oh my goodness, 15 shots on goal from Boulder compared to the 7 from Keyano, so over double the amount of aggression on the side of Boulder. Just really goes to show, you know, the more aggressive team, at least in this series so far, has been the team to prevail.
Yes, and it does look like we also might be having some connection issues for Vitali. They'll be rejoining us here right away as we get this lobby rebuilt. There's still an opportunity to bring this one back. Keyano College cannot give up just yet. It is a best of 5. Yes, we've got Vitali back in the lobby, so that's great. We should be able to start right away. We can't count Keyano out just yet. No counting chickens before they hatch for Boulder. Still a best of 5, yes, here at match point, but you can't let it slip through your fingers. We watched the sand fall down during that last game, but, you know, no one's time is up just yet.
Yeah, absolutely. And of the 3 games we've seen so far, it still stands true. The team to score first is the team to win it all, whether there are points on the board at the end or not from their opponent. So let's see if that tale tells true. Whoever finds that first goal could very well dictate how the rest of the game and possibly the series goes.
And everyone is loading into the lobby right now. It's just gonna take a few more seconds. As soon as that ball hits the ground, I want to, one thing we haven't seen thus far here is a kickoff goal, and I'm really wanting to see one. Is that
That'd be
mean of me to
exciting.
request?
Would be a good way to start off a very important, very pivotal game like this one. Somebody to immediately find a kickoff goal. Starvin, not quite the kickoff goal, but trying to line one up. Oh, great defensive block there. A phenomenal opportunity for Bang to keep the dream alive. Yokes comes through with that secondary attempt. Nobody's there to catch. Yeah, oh, nope. Up and off to the left. I thought that was a shoo-in to go in, but unfortunately, it's not going to be close enough.
Vitali taking it slow here, trying to play it around 1, but can't play it around Volts. And then the follow-up from Flover looks like shot on goal, saved by Bang. Let's hope that we do not see Keyano leave that goal open like they did during the last game and the first game, because that is just something that Colorado will capitalize on immediately.
40 seconds off the clock, and already nobody has put that point away yet, which feels weird. I feel like these teams, at least one of them, has been scoring pretty early for a majority of the games. I think the longest we've gone without a goal was like a minute 12 or something. It's still very early into the game. Last series in particular, last game, excuse me, Colorado was scoring very, very often and very early off the kick. A full minute off the clock now, so we are 20% of the way through this 4th and possibly final game. But until Colorado puts a point on the board, I am not comfortable saying this is our final game.
I agree with you 100%. I also think that I'm going to stick with the tried and true. Whomever is going to get the first goal is going to win out the game. Ultimately, though, the next 3 minutes and 40 seconds will tell, and that's also up to the players. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yokes with a great air dribble, but he runs on a boost. Will the goal go in? Flover there to try to boop it off the back of him, and unfortunately the defense on the side of Keyano is going to be there to catch it out. The goal goes up and over, now back into the midfield toward the goal of Keyano. Back immediately back into the swing of things here. That was probably the fastest back and forth we've seen coming out from either side. Nobody has ball control right now. It is a lawless wasteland, and it is the first goal from Volts to put it down. That is a good save, but the one defender could only do so much. Volts putting the first point on the board, excuse me, and Keyano, can they live up to the task? Can they win Game 4 and force a Game 5?
We will have to wait and see. Is it going to be the standard whomever gets the first goal wins? I kind of hope so, but on the same notion, it's gonna be hard because Boulder can still put a lot of goals in very quickly.
They most definitely can. We've seen Boulder score, I think, 3 times in about 40 seconds was the fastest, or something around that. I'm not positive on those numbers, but the point is it was very, very fast. And oh, Flover trying to tie up the series just as we are getting ready to enter that second half, and it's blocked out by Bang. Now it's Vitali trying to find ball control, but Flover snatches it right back. Colorado going to go up and over, knocked into the center field, completely up for grabs. Who's going to be able to find it? The goal for Colorado is wide open if they can get close enough. Keyano smacks it into the corner. It is sent down that field. That is an open goal. Is anybody fast enough to catch it, Nerdy? It's off to the side anyway.
Oh, please don't do that anymore. I'm begging you. Don't overcommit on a goal-scoring opportunity to leave yours wide open. You are not up by 2. You are not up by 3. You are up by 1. And honestly, Flover will capitalize on open goals, and they'll take that momentum to score another right away. That's exactly what Boulder did in the first round. They did it in the second game as well. Please don't give them that easy of an opportunity and a go-ahead.
Yokes comes through, possibly trying to go ahead. It looks like Colorado's trying to make something happen. They're playing a hard defense, knocking it back away. Starvin there to catch it a second time. Colorado in this game definitely struggling to get it out of their back third. Starvin going to try to take it up and over past 1, past 2, into goal. Starvin into Flover, into a tied game once again. 1:49 on the clock, 1-1 on the board, and this is far from over, my friends.
All right, we are at the complicated tie, tied 1 aside. Let's see what ends up happening here. This is not really the situation any team wants to have themselves in, but it's okay to be here. I mean, this is what we asked for. We want a series to go the distance, but can it go the distance is the question.
Can it go the distance is a question that we are going to find out very soon, my friend. 90 seconds left on the clock. Somebody's got to put the goal away, and if they don't, we will enter our overtime. I think we've only seen 2 overtimes this weekend in the same series, nonetheless. So this would be the first one, definitely, of today, of our last day of the CECC West qualifier. And both these teams looking to do just that, trying to qualify their absolute hearts out for that spot in Atlanta, Georgia, because at the end of the day, only one of them will walk away with that seeding.
Okay, now we're at I'm going to say it's at the 1 minute mark. Yes, now we're at the 1 minute mark. Basically 0-0. Both teams, are we going to get the back half buff? Are we going to get the final 1 minute beatdown happening here? When is it all going to connect? It almost does, but Vitali getting that save.
Vitali being the hero that this team needs right now. Keyano almost watched their chances of Georgia slip away, but a phenomenal block on the defense of Keyano keeps the dream alive. 30 seconds left on the clock. We are entering double digits. I mean, we've been in double digits. It is quite a while that we have been spending our time here. Yokes, no, that's so clean. That's an open goal. Once again, Starvin puts it away. Starvin out. Keyano, 26 seconds left on the clock, and this is going to be a Herculean task here, Nerdy, to force that Game 5. But Colorado, they are so close to those grand finals, they can taste it.
Please, please, Keyano, I begged you not to give the open goal, and you gave it anyway. No more. Find 1 goal for yourselves. Vitali, Bang, you two do the wombo combo, the Spice Masters, so to speak. Find that second goal connecting and bring us into overtime.
Oh, that overtime is danger close if Keyano can find that goal. But right now, 8 seconds left. We are down to single digits. Keyano has a phenomenal setup. Can they find the follow through? No, Boulder smacks it away into the back third of Keyano. And no, say it ain't so. Not the closing goal against them. It's half in, and it's all the way in. Colorado, they take a close game, and they rip it away. A 3-1 victory here for Colorado Boulder, and they are moving on to grand finals.
I mean, congratulations, Boulder. couldn't have played it better. You did drop one, but I mean, in a best of 5 series, it's okay to go down one. But
Definitely.
now, Keyano, y'all have a Herculean task in front of you. Can you go the distance? Yes, I tried to make a Disney reference there. I don't know if it's possible because you have to go against the team you drop down into the lower
Yep.
bracket, first of all. So they are hungry for a vengeance against you. They may return the favor and say, bye-bye, you get to stay down here. But if you manage to win that, you have to play that. You played this one, you have to play them again. And then you have to come right back up here and play Boulder one more time, who's going to have a game advantage at that point, on top of the fact that you guys will be severely gassed out after playing 3 back-to-back games. So that is one heck of a task in front of you, and I can say nothing but good luck and
Yeah.
try your gosh darn hardest.
Absolutely, Nerdy. I think you crushed all the points there. They're going up against the very people they sent to the lower bracket back in round 1. George Fox Blue has been fighting tooth and nail for this moment. They are looking for that vengeance story that we're going to get a chance to look at in just a couple of minutes. We're going to get these teams ready, y'all. Go out and get some water. It's a nice day. Open your windows, or at least it's a nice day on the East Coast. Hey-oh.
It's
We'll see you right back
pouring
here.
rain here.
We'll see you right back here in just a couple of minutes with some more CECC Rocket League.
Definitely gunning to get back into that championship opportunity here. They were knocked down by Keyano College in the first game of the entire series here, so they are looking for revenge, especially because they had to take out their siblings in the process to be back here. So they've got a title to uphold for themselves, and they have to win this all out to say that, you know, when you beat up your younger sibling, it was for a greater cause.
It was for a greater cause at the end of the day, truly. And right now, George Fox Blue, I mean, holy cow, what a way to kick things off. An immediate goal, a sub-20-second goal to establish an early dominance. It is almost answered by Vitali with a goal of their own. Keyano, they're coming off of a tough loss and a close one at that. They need, more than anybody else in this series, need to look at this as a true GG go next. They need to walk into this series complete clean slate and get ready to play their absolute hearts out.
Wait, you're telling George Fox Blue to treat this as a GG go next?
No, I'm telling Keyano to treat this as a GG go next.
Okay, because I'm like, don't treat it like a GG go next. Treat this as you are hungry for a victory, but it looks like Keyano immediately took your advice, because Vitali from Volts off that back wall finds goal number 1. Now we're at the it's complicated 0-0.
Yeah, and Vitali, I think, has been the only member on the side of Keyano to score today. I think everything... Oh, no, I'm sorry. We saw Bang with 1 score, but it was a pass off of Vitali. So definitely the lead striker on the side of Keyano. Now, has George Fox been able to notice that? Well, that's the question. If they start demoing Vitali over and over, all of a sudden things probably get a little bit easier. But, of course, that's easier said than done. Demoing somebody in this game can definitely be hard if you don't play your cards right. A great setup, but no follow-through. And unfortunately, GFB does not find that lineup to score that second goal quite yet. Oh! That was so
I will
good.
be honest with you, it did seem like Boulder actually caught on to the trend that most of these goals are results of assists and decided to start demoing either Volt or Vitali every opportunity that they had, which is how they managed to prevent what happened in Game 2 from happening again. So let's see if Keyano picks up on that here. Right now, though, they're up by 1. Still not out of the woods just yet, though. They need to be up by 1 more in order to be sitting pretty for a little bit. But maintaining that lead for over half of this round is difficult indeed.
And to be Keyano, you know, you're coming in a very, like, canceled out situation. You're like, oh, darn, we lost to Boulder. Like, the mental may be a little scuffed. But then on the other side, you're like, we've already beaten this team. Like, this is not untreaded territory. We have done this once before. Let's just run it back. So emotionally speaking, they are right in the middle of the field right now, playing this to their absolute darndest degree. And we're 2 minutes off the clock, a 1-point advantage right now in favor of Keyano. And like I said, they did it once. They're just looking to do it a second time.
We have the ball get dunked down right in front of the goal there, but it's not capitalized on. Immediately shot on goal from Volts, though, saved by Steve.
Volts just rolls that bad boy right up. I thought it was a shoot to go in, but it's going to be double blocked out by GFB. Aries with a great defensive play, but if there's an immediate follow-up, that could spell disaster. No, instead it's a clear down away. It's immediately smacked back toward the goal of George Fox Blue. A real scramble for the ball right now is open in the midfield, and Bang is the one to grab it. Flips it off to the side, making it much harder for George Fox to find a goal off that play. Speaking of goals, here's one for Volt, the third one coming through in favor of Keyano College, and they simply do not play like they just lost a series 3-1. Right now, they are looking like a brand new team, large and in charge. They are gunning back to that grand finals.
All right, George Fox, come on. You got to start bringing this one back. You've got the back half buff coming in for you. Let's see if it pulls through. You're just down by 2. That's a goal with about 1 goal a minute, a little bit of extra time there. It's doable. It's not easy, but I've seen you guys rack up quite the amount of points in a short amount of time. Let's see if they can do that here, or if Keyano will walk away with the first game win.
Aries with a great demolition onto Banks. It's going to be a 3v2 for about 2 whole seconds. And is there a moment for a capitalization from George Fox? They had the earliest goal that we've seen today. I believe it was like 9 seconds. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Colorado scored in 4 seconds. So I'm not sure we're going to be seeing anything equivalent to that, at least for a majority of the day. Speaking of seconds, 100 of them remaining, and GFB are still down by 2. Aries with a great setup into an open goal, and all of a sudden, it is a winnable game. Once again, a 3v2 matchup. 99 seconds left.
I feel like this can be brought back. 90 seconds is more than enough time. You're not even looking right now, if you're George Fox, I'm not saying you're looking to get 2 goals. You're looking to get 1 and then stop any other opportunities from going in. If you have to, play for the overtime and play for the golden goal opportunity.
I agree. You're looking to basically add time to the clock. You're looking to stall it out, force an overtime, and see what you can do after that. Oh!
Whoa!
Speaking of seeing what somebody could do, Volt with a slightly lucky goal. I want to get another look on this. I was so focused on the overtime. Oh, no. That ain't luck. That is skill, my friends. A clean goal. 1-2-3 on the clock. We've got a 2-4 on the board. And Keyano College, they are 83 seconds away from winning Game 1 in this first of 3 series.
Getting a little bit concerned from George Fox Blue. Typically, their rotations are quite clean, but then we had right there in that goal opportunity we saw, all 3 members were lined up horizontally. Not something you want to be seeing if you're looking to dig the ball out of the back third of your field. And also, there was a double commit to save that goal anyway. Again, not something that they typically are guilty of doing, but it happened nonetheless.
60 seconds on the clock now, and the pressure is building up against this team. Volt, if that goes in, that would have been the nail in the coffin, but Aries is able to block it out. We need 1 goal per 25 seconds right now. We've seen George Fox Blue score pretty consistently when they're given the chance, but right now the chance has just been ripped away from them. 40 seconds remaining. Is there any iota of a hope here for them in Game 1? Unfortunately, it does not look like it, but bright side, we're back to those best of 5s, which means this is only a Game 1. Losing the first game is definitely not a dictator of how the rest of the series is going to go.
The one thing I will say that George Fox has the opportunity to go the whole 5 series here without feeling the exhaustion that, you know, Keyano College might start to feel playing 2 back-to-back games, because they almost went a full 5 series, because we had a 4-game series in the first one that they were in, and going into a full 5 game, if we can get George Fox to win a couple here, can be extremely exhausting for these players.
That is a Game 1 win for Keyano. And like you said, you got to wonder if they're going to be getting a little bit exhausted. They've won this. They need to win 2 more. And then if they win that, they go immediately into grand finals up against the University of Colorado Boulder. So that will be consecutively what was 4 games last series. We'd need at least 3 this time. So we're looking at possibly 10 games in a row of Rocket League.
And that's a lot. That is just a lot. I mean, I understand that, you know, if you're someone who's watching the stream, you're probably like, yeah, I play 10 games of Rocket League, no problem. I probably play closer to like 15, maybe 20 in a night. Yeah, that's one thing, but that's like, you're able to dictate your breaks and everything in that type of situation. Here, that you don't get that opportunity. It is just go, 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 go. There is no stopping. There is no breaks. So that's where things get difficult.
It's going to be difficult indeed, and you know that 10-game thing is if this and the next series are also 3-0s. Like if there's even 1 Game 4 in there somewhere, that number just continues to climb and go up. I thought that was going to be a very early goal for the side of George Fox Blue once again. They found an early goal last time and then were not able to score afterwards. Can they play a little more open, a little more consistent? A possibility on goal, but Vitali, the goalie, there to block it out and keep us tied up at that 0-0 scoreline as we enter only 20 seconds off the clock.
And we actually broke our curse earlier in that first game.
Ooh.
The team that scored the first goal did not end up winning out that series. Instead, George Fox got that goal number 1, but they could not continue to rack up those points to just counter what was being brought to the table by Keyano. Now we are at the a little past 30 seconds and no goals on the board just yet.
A good follow-up there. Oh, no, a little bit of a whiff. It's going to go above and off to the left. Can Aries find a tertiary follow-up? Unfortunately not. Blocked out by Volts. George Fox had an opportunity to strike. There was a bit of a miss-up in the midfield, and that cost him that goal, I believe. A minute off the clock. Still hanging out at those goose eggs, but here comes a really good opportunity. As I say that, it's disrupted by George Fox. An open goal if somebody's fast enough, but the boost drought really starting to hurt George Fox Blue here.
Yeah, that's something I hadn't really brought up too much, was boost rotations and boost starving when you're on the offensive opportunities here. That can be something that's very detrimental to a defending team if those boost pads are taken away from them before they have the opportunity to gather them themselves. Makes it difficult to block shots on goal, and we've got Keyano putting goal number 1 on the board, minute and 20 seconds in.
Clean as a whistle. We saw the demolition coming through as well. No chance of a goalie. A clean little tap in, a double tap off the player there. And like you said, 80 seconds in, we have our first goal from Keyano. They win this one. They can put themselves on series point. They'll be 1 game away from securing that spot back in grand finals. George Fox, we're getting to that time where they need to wake up because it truly is now or never.
We've got kicker rotating back, getting ready to be in position to prevent this opportunity from happening. Getting in that passing lane, stealing the ball away, looking for the connection. They find it. Ball is dropped down in front of the goal, but right away, the defense for Keyano pays off. The rotations are there, and it was not left open.
It was not left open at all. George Fox, they've been doing a really good job of getting ball control, but every time they lose it, it's immediately slammed toward their goal just like that. Vitali, I mean, shaming the Rocket League gods for that one. There was no defender in sight. It was simply the crossbar there that disrupted that. An open goal now once again for Keyano to take advantage of, but the demolition from Mikey that keeps the dream alive. Now ball control for just a moment in favor of BFG before Bang gets ready to snatch it back toward the back third of Keyano, but they're doing such a good job of never letting GFB get close enough to their goal.
Honestly, it might be time to sit down and have some couples canceling with that crossbar. That was real unfortunate earlier. Got another shot on goal coming in from Bang, just a little bit too high, and the follow-up can't be found immediately because the spider on the wall coming out from George Fox was enough, but the demo in the goal from Volt Vitali to, I believe this might have been to Bang here after that demo. Yeah, no, it was to Volt. That was beautiful.
Just beautiful indeed. And that's a relatively simple play that I'm surprised we haven't seen more this weekend, is go toward goal, somebody slide in, demo main goalie, and then usually you can score off the back of it. That's a play that we'll see from, I believe, any skill level, truly. And I'm glad that we're finally getting to see it twice now. Actually, that's 2 times that Keyano has been able to score just completely off the same play. GFB struggling to adapt.
We've got Vitali trying to bring this ball up the side. Can't play it around 1, but then an awkward double commit yet again might spell the doom for that opportunity to turn it around, and it does as Bang finds goal number 3.
Bang, like you said, goal number 3 on the board. We've got 124 seconds remaining in the series. Excuse me, not in the series, in the game. We've got at least 1 more after this, and Keyano, they're looking more and more likely to win this game. That puts them on series point. If they win that, again, folks, straight into those grand finals. So that'll be unbelievably fascinating to see how that goes. Steve with the demolition. Mounted of Vitali early gives George Fox the time to shine, but with only 2 minutes left, needing to find 3 goals. It's possible, but it is going to be mighty difficult.
They have a solid defense. The rotations are there, but the thing that I think they're missing, and it's the thing that you love the most, is that physical aggression element that it feels like Keyano is more than happy to give for themselves, but George Fox is just not providing it.
Physicality does come through. Mikey finds a demo onto Bang, but ball control still in favor of Keyano. So the demolition is good, but your team can quite literally do nothing about it because you can't even get close to scoring. And speaking of scoring, let's take a look at that kill feed once again. I mean, it's basically a kill feed at this point with another demolition to the defender. Boom, there they go. Bumped out of the way, and that is an open goal for Keyano to score. 4-0, a minute 20 left, and Keyano, they are 1 minute and 21 seconds away from securing a 2-0 lead.
Aries tries to get in that passing lane, but can't secure the volley to their teammate. Now Bang in front of the goal, looking to pass back. Ball's slowing down quite a bit, and it looks like a slight reset has already come out from Keyano College, which is smart play to make. They pull it back out of that goal area. Now, we have the pass forward to Aries, but Aries pushes the ball too far forward and loses out possession. Now, the onslaught from Keyano has begun, bringing the ball to the back third on the side of George Fox Blue.
Oh no, okay, great. Mikey had a little bit more boost in the tank, but had to use just about all of it down to 6. Steve at 16, and I'm really starting to see a pattern here, Nerdy. Almost every time we are spectating somebody from the side of George Fox Blue, they have little to no boost in the tank, and I mean, this game can come down to be all about boost. It is so unbelievably important that you have that speed advantage over your opponents, and I think maybe Keyano has noticed that. Maybe Keyano has realized that if we just boost them out, this should be an easy win.
18 seconds on the clock. I cannot foresee that 5-goal gap. That Volt's cross map snipe shot, absolutely beautiful. Yeah, the opportunity to pull this one back out of the woods I don't think is in the cards, but the reverse sweep is still something that can happen. So at this point, to quote you, George Fox, it might be a pseudo quote you. George Fox, I think this might be a GG go next.
Hey, I would have pretended I said it if you just quoted me normally, but yeah, the GG go next is absolutely what we're looking at here. There was a time we were looking at 1 goal per 3 seconds, which basically means 5 perfect kickoff goals in a row, and even then I'm not sure that it's possible. Keyano going up 2-0 on the series and putting themselves 5 minutes, hypothetically 1 goal away from getting that run back, that salty run back against the University of Colorado Boulder in grand finals. Either way, if George Fox is going to make the magic happen, they have 1 more chance. They have 5 more minutes here, Nerdy, to try and make that happen.
They can do it. I really, really hope they are coming in with, as you know, the best mental state they possibly can. Do not tilt. Treat this as it's 0-0. Yes, there's a lot on the line, but at the end of the day, the only thing you can control is how well you play and how you treat the game itself. Are you coming in tilted? Are you coming in upset? Or are you just going in to play the best you possibly can? Because the most upsetting thing is to realize that, you know, you went into one of these final games and we're just so aggravated, so upset, or we're just in the wrong mental state that cost you your play skill, and that is what could have possibly lost you that game.
Absolutely, and even more impressive, while we're kind of sitting here waiting for that next game to start, I've been taking a look at the scoreboard, and all 3 members of Keyano are dancing with 100 ping the entire time. They are anywhere between 80 and 100 ping, and that can really hurt a player down the line. I mean, we're seeing ping on the side of GFB. They're down in the 30s and the 20s, but right now Keyano, they're up in the hundreds. You'd think that would hurt them, but they're up 2-0 on the series right now.
So a trend I actually noticed, I didn't mention it yesterday, was that the team with the lower ping typically ended up losing.
That is
That
incredible.
it's weird.
That is an anomaly in the world of esports, but Rocket League being a game so specific about, I mean, milliseconds, inches, ping can truly be important. Being a single millisecond off can really hurt your team down the line, and already a very early goal almost makes an appearance for Keyano, but it's blocked out by the majority of George Fox's phenomenal defense. Trying to play the heroes, but stuck in their own back third once again. They just need to clear it downfield, and it looks like they're going to try to do that right now. Bang, with the answer that they needed. Pressure on once again.
Ball is corralled here in the corner. It does finally find its way out briefly. Dunked down back third of Keyano's side of the field, but Bang's already in there to steal that opportunity away and drag it back across the midfield stripe.
4:19 and counting. This is going to be one of those slower games, very reminiscent of the final game between University of Colorado and Keyano just a series ago, where it was very slow in the beginning, but then as soon as Colorado got their footing, they absolutely tore it apart. I want to keep an eye on that first goal, see if George Fox can put themselves in the position to be up on that 1-0. Then if they get there, can they hold it? Steve with a double elimination. Steve on a absolute rampage right now. It's technically a 3v1 for a moment, and even in that moment, Nerdy, I mean, George Fox, it felt like they didn't even go for the ball.
Steve just took out Bang, too. It seems like they were playing Demolition Derby, just trying to take away all the connecting opportunities to prevent the goal from going in. Trying to make this as small a score gap as possible, but going for those demos means that you're putting yourself out of rotation most of the time, and Vitali capitalized on that instantly.
I loved Steve's capitalization of the demolitions, but there was maybe 3 seconds where it was basically a 3v1, and George Fox Blue, the remaining members, just watched the ball bounce around. I mean, there was a very weird moment where instead of waiting, instead of going up to catch it, they waited for it to drop, and the 2 seconds it took the ball to drop was long enough for them to completely respawn, and Keyano was back in full swing.
Oh, that was a great save there from Aries. Now they're able to push forward. Vitali, though, gets it right in their face, stealing that ball away. That is something that I feel like George Fox is really struggling with right now, is identifying when someone's coming after them and just trying to make sure that they can maintain possession throughout that process. If you're not prepared for that and not looking for the give and the go, then you are basically the reason why the ball possession is changing over to the other side, because you're not predicting, you're reacting.
It's that proactive versus reactive argument. You know, we've been talking about that all weekend long. Reacting is so much harder than having a plan and being able to follow through on a Keyano. Everything they do, like I said, never feels accidental. It all feels calculated. They know who's going to be going off the corner, who's going to be going for the strike toward goal. And Aries, speaking of goals, had an open one, but Volt able to catch it out, able to save the day and keep that momentum in favor of Keyano. Half this game already over, and the scoreline surprisingly low.
Another shot on goal from Steve. Unfortunately, can't find its way in. It hit that fourth man, the crossbar on the side, and bounced out. Now we got the ball getting dropped down in front of George Fox Blue's goal. Aries is there, grabs it, plays it around one. That's what I'm looking for right there, is the ability to play around those people who are coming after you. Plays it around another. Can they play it around Volts? They will not. But they had the follow-up from Steve. Shot on goal, turned away by Bang.
Volt's going to go for another goal. Mikey able to play that defense. We've got 1:20 left on the clock, a minute 20 separating Keyano College from a victory here and just moving into those grand finals to get that run back against Colorado. Steve finds the demo onto Bang, but Volt still up and above, going for a goal of their own. A great striking opportunity if they play their cards right. It bounces up toward the goal, but it's off to the side. George Fox Blue, they are playing with fire here, but it's still that 1-0 scoreline. 99 seconds. We are technically down to double digits, and Mikey G putting the first point on the board for George Fox in quite a while. We are tied back at that 1-1, and the next could very well be our last.
George Fox, play your own game, play it slow, play it at the pace you need, because when you make those passes, when you play this calculated and meticulously, you come out on top, and you just tied us with less than 100 seconds on the board. Just do that again, honestly. Oh no, the crossbar almost saved him. Vitali said, no, I'm not going to take the risk and wait, and just decided to just use the nose of the car and drop it into the goal.
Yeah, the crossbar, like you said, almost caught it out, but Vitali was in the right place at the right time, able to spike that into goal. Now 90 seconds left. That was like a 4-second goal and a huge opportunity. Like I said, the next goal could very well be our last, and Keyano putting themselves up 2-1 is all they need to do. We have seen many a series end by only a single point differential. Keyano, they have that. They are looking for those grand finals right here, right now. Oh man, and that's almost the nail in the coffin. We've got 75 left. That's 1 per 25 to win it all, to win it and force a game 4, but Keyano, they just refuse to pull punches. They refuse to slow down, and they refuse to let George Fox touch the ball.
I mean, it's real easy to score goals and prevent goals if you don't let the other side get a single opportunity to touch it.
Very true. You just remove them from the equation entirely. Seems to be working pretty well. Aries a little bit off to the left side, unfortunately, and that's blocked out. A 1-point differential with a minute on the clock would be unbelievably winnable, but as we enter double digits, less than a minute remaining, this becomes very difficult because they need to score twice. We are less than 1 goal per 30 seconds.
Ball is on the side of George Fox Blue. Kicker Mikey is looking to dig it out, but can't find it, and Vitali just pushes it into the goal.
That has got to be a deal breaker, truly. That's 4-1 here in Game 3. Keyano College looking incredibly likely to walk away with that victory. We would need nothing short of a miracle here. George Fox Blue, the only team they lose to this weekend, is the same team 2 times. Keyano College, they're going to be walking away with that victory. Like I said, unless George Fox Blue can do something that I've never seen before, and that is score 3 times in 30 seconds.
Vitali, though, might be trying to score 3 times themselves in 30 seconds. Had a shot on goal, but the crossbar saves it for the side of George Fox Blue. Ball still on the back third of George Fox side of the field. Finally, it finds its way across the midfield stripe, but none of them are in rotation to push forward and capitalize on that clear.
Down into the single digits, and my friends, unfortunately, we will have to wave George Fox Blue goodbye. They will come in 3rd place here at the CECC West qualifiers. Keyano College, though, celebrating like nobody's business. They've secured a new spot in that grand final lineup, and they're getting ready to the University of Colorado Boulder in another best of 5. However, Boulder will get a 1-point advantage. We'll be right back here with those grand finals in just a couple of minutes. Use this break, get some water, get a snack, do what you got to do. But I promise you will not want to miss out on these grand finals. We'll see you right back here in just a couple of minutes. What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the CE West Qualifier Grand Finals Rocket League. I am joined by the Nerdy Bird, and we have got University of Colorado Boulder versus Keyano College.
All right, so it's important to keep in mind for everyone watching that Boulder is coming in with a 1-game advantage, so Keyano cannot drop these first 2 games. Otherwise, it is GG at that point. It looks like they're trying to make sure that doesn't happen with Bang to Volt, resulting in goal number 1.
An immediate goal to 1-game advantage for Boulder, but it's a 1-point advantage for Keyano. And it's important to note that Keyano was sent to the lower bracket earlier today by none other than the University of Colorado. So they had to fight out George Fox Blue, who came in 3rd place this weekend, to fight again for that 1st place spot. Only one team gets to walk away with that spot in Georgia, and both these teams want it real bad.
Ball is still here on the back there to Boulder side of the field, and it looks like Volt is going to try and center it up off the back wall with a touch from Tolly, but it's a miss and a whiff. Ball is being brought up the side. Now let's see if Bang can get into the passing lane. They do, but it's not enough still with possession. Yokes get a shot on goal. Touch from the teammate. Follow-up tertiary touch from Starvin. Goal number 1, and we are tied at 1 aside.
That was a close one. Luckily enough, Starvin was in the exact place at the right time. A pretty unlucky bounce off the side of the goal there, but it goes in regardless. Now, Nerdy, to note that last series we saw with there was that weird first person to score was the person to win, and we'll have to see if that continues. We're already tied up 1-1, and if Boulder ends up winning this game, they will already be on the tournament life.
It's a scary situation for Keyano College to be in, so they cannot drop this first game. Otherwise, that stress mounts very quickly. No matter how hard you try to keep it out of your mind, it's still always going to be there. And playing this like it's game 1 is difficult, especially for Keyano, considering this is their 3rd back-to-back game this afternoon. No stopping, no breaks, albeit they did get a little bit. And now Bang, from Bang's own rebound here, will get goal number 2.
Bang, with relative ease, just glides it in past 2 defenders in total, bounces right into the goal. Not a defender in sight after that. A 2-1 lead for Keyano for a moment. 3:50 left on the clock, and plenty of time for either team to really turn on the boosters. This is all about the marathon and not the sprint, so it's very important to not go full throttle in game 1, because you need to have those prepared for games 2 through possibly 5. So it's very important that these players keep their physicality in check. They keep their energy in check.
Right now we got Bang pushing this ball forward. There is no one in the goal right now for the side of Boulder, but they rotate back in time. Flover gets the save, shot on goal from Volt after the demo onto Yokes, results in goal number 3 for Keyano College.
I mean, just absolutely beautiful from Keyano College so far. They've been running that play since they started going up against George Fox Blue, and they decided it is their bread and butter here today. They just go for a very simple walk into goal. One of your teammates finds a demolition, and you seal the deal just like that. You eliminate the goalie. There's nobody to stop you in Keyano College. They have definitely picked up on that pattern. Oh my goodness.
Vital finding another goal, up by 3 now. 3 minutes still on the clock, 3 minutes 10 seconds. That is roughly about 1 minute 3 seconds per goal if we're hoping for Boulder to tie this one up. As we mentioned earlier, they're up 1 game, so if Keyano wins this game, we're basically do a best of 3 at that point.
Yeah, we're just back to a normal best of 3 just like yesterday all over again. And this is fascinating because Boulder, I mean, we saw them 8-2 somebody earlier. They are very familiar with getting some high-flying scoring games, but they're leaving their goal wide open, Nerdy. That is the 3rd goal in a row that I'm not sure a defender is going to even be in the replay.
You know, Keyano College has been guilty of this themselves, but it's not being affected on them because they are just not letting the ball cross that midfield stripe.
This has just been, I mean, an absolute field day for Keyano College here in game 1. They're ready to tie the series up 1-1. Like you said, we haven't even entered the second half of the game yet, and they're already up 5-1.
I mean,
15 more seconds, we'll be at that halfway mark. That back half boost, I don't think is going to be enough to score 4 more goals, but it looks like Flover is going to be able to prevent another one from going in from Bang. Trying to slow down the tempo here in the corner, trying to corral the ball down, does not do them any favors either, allowing the pass from Vitali to Bang to bring them up to goal number 6.
Goal number 6 on the board, one shy of a Brazil, and Colorado, a team that has gone completely and totally undefeated. They took out Keyano College, now about to lose Grand Finals Game 1 to Keyano College. I mean, it is incredible the turnaround that Keyano has really brought to the table. A comeback kid story today if I've ever seen one.
Let's see if they can keep that up. I mean, in the last game that they played against Boulder, they lost game 1, won game 2, and then the other 2 went straight to Boulder. So Boulder, this could be the equivalence of their game 2, and the rest just go in their favor. I mean, we did just get goal number 2 coming out from Starvin from the pass from Yokes. 4-goal deficit, roughly 30 seconds per goal, so 32 seconds per goal. It's doable, not easy, but can be done.
Not easy at all, but I mean, it's amazing we're looking at a 6-2 scoreline, and there's still 2 minutes on the clock. Usually to have this many, we are sub a minute or somewhere close. Got over double that, 2-6, and it's difficult, not impossible, but as that 7th goal goes in, and Colorado's goal is wide open again, that's going to be another one, possibly the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, I think this one might be there's a sliver of a hope of all of these shots on goal going in to close a 6-goal lead, but the odds of that actually happening are borderline non-existent.
Oh,
Yep,
all right.
so
Yokes able to find something, brings it to a 4-goal differential once again. We've got a minute 50 left on the clock, 110 seconds, so it's definitely possible for them to turn this around, but they need to just start scoring after the beginning of every single play. We don't have time for dilly-dally or deliberations. It needs to be goal after goal after goal.
yes, but they do need to make sure that they're not leaving their own goal wide open yet again, because I think we've seen 2, if not 3 open goal opportunities have been capitalized on by Keyano College. Now we are at that 100 seconds left. Now is the opportunity to try and turn this around. Let's see if they can. The ball is still over here on the side of Boulder. Starvin finds it, digs it out with a little bit of help. The give and the go happens, but it's a little too late. Now ball on the back third of Boulder's side of the field yet again.
80 seconds left on the clock here, and it's going to be difficult. I mean, we're looking at 1 goal per 20 seconds right now. In Colorado, every time they get the ball, it is snatched right back away. Their goal currently wide open as well. Starvin trying to find a shot, but there's no follow-up. Almost taken in by Bang, but it is going to be blocked off to the top left corner. Down to 60 seconds, and this is actually our highest scoring game of the weekend, officially hitting double digits in total and trying to take it one higher with the demo. Flover misses the goal, sub 60 seconds now. We have entered double-digit territory. Colorado just cannot get this ball into goal. 6 failed attempts in a row there.
I do believe this is going to be Keyano walking away with our Game 2 victory, tying us 1 aside as far as series differential goes, but at that point, like we mentioned earlier, brings us to a best of 3, and that is where things get a little bit more difficult. Starvin, though, finds goal number 4, so that goal gap is closing up slowly, but now they still have to find 1 every 11 seconds. That's probably impossible for the side of Boulder to accomplish.
1 per 11. I mean, that... Come on. That realistically, we're probably not going to be seeing that in Boulder. They're keeping this game close. We've got 11 points in total on the board right now. Easily the highest scoring game that we have seen. A great way to start off Grand Finals. But Keyano, they are trying to make this a best of 3 series, and they are only 23 seconds away from doing so. Maybe there was a little bit of overconfidence from Colorado. Maybe they just weren't as warmed up as Keyano, who hasn't stopped playing for 3 hours. But either way, Keyano walks away with that Game 1 victory.
Yes, 7 seconds on the clock. At this point, it is the ball touches the ground and it's over. Even if the side of Boulder finds an extra goal in here, it's not going to do anything extra. So with that, excuse me, I have the hiccups right now. Keyano will walk away with the Game 1 victory.
A Game 1 victory looking good for Keyano, and they are now all of a sudden tied up on that 1-1 scoreline. Both teams only need 2 more games to walk away victorious. Boulder, they've yet to win a game here into these Grand Finals because they had that winner's advantage, but now all of the gloves are off. It is going to be a full throttle battle. Oh my goodness, I just realized Boulder had 13 shots on goal. Keyano with 12. So Boulder actually shooting on goal more often, but you know, 6 of those came from that really rough moment back in game 1 where they whipped 6 shots on goal in a row. They really could have made some differences with those goals, but hindsight is 2020. After all the players are ready. We're getting ready to jump into game 2 of Grand Finals, possibly our penultimate game of the day.
Let's see what happens here. Now, whomever ends up winning this one is going to be sitting pretty for a little bit. But honestly, I think we still have at least 10 minutes of Rocket League, possibly 15 minutes of Rocket League to go.
Yeah, 10, maybe 15, depending on how the cookie seems to crumble right now. Is it an early goal looking like for Bang? But instead, Flover takes it up high. A follow pass right into Colorado, and Volt playing the defense of a lifetime, but Volt can only do so much. Yokes off of Starvin, off of Yokes again from Starvin into goal. A phenomenal opportunity, 22 seconds off the clock.
All right, as we go into the next 50-50, it looks like it's going to go in favor of Boulder from Steve, but Vital got in there and tries to take this ball away. Going to go for the shot on goal. Double commit there from the defenders. Opens it up for a few moments with the ball pushed too far to one side. Another shot on goal from Volts, turned away by Yokes. The ball now crossing that midfield stripe, being brought in front of the goal here for Keyano College.
Tali with an early demo, and then just leads somehow to a goal for Colorado. I'd love to get another look at this because they're currently in a 3v2. Starvin takes it up high off the wall, knocks it in, and not a defender in sight. Going after the ball, and oh, excuse me, 2 defenders, and they were too little, too late. 2 points on the board for Colorado, and this is the Colorado I remember coming in hot here in these grand finals.
Whoever wins this game is going to be putting themselves at match point, and that is not a situation either team wants to give away. Volts finds the first goal here for Keyano College. We've got 4 minutes and 8 seconds on the clock, and right now Boulder only up by 1. But if the trend continues, if he who scores first wins the round, Boulder is looking to gun for that second game victory. Let's see what happens.
3 points on the board. We are just now getting our first minute off the clock. 80% of the game remaining. And both sides refusing to budge. Nobody's really been able to take charge.
Oh,
but as that goes in, talk about unfortunate if you are a Keyano. That is a silver lining goal and a slightly lucky one. Add that directly underneath the defense. Goal is a goal regardless. And all of a sudden, we're tied back up 2-2.
50-50 doesn't really go in favor of anyone. However, Vitali goes forward after the ball's popped in the air. Shot on goal, turned away by Yokes. Follow-up touch from Volts. He's going to get turned away yet again. Ball crossing that midfield stripe, getting dunked down by one of the Boulder players and pushed forward a little bit further. Shot on goal, a little bit too wide of that net.
90 seconds off the clock, already 4 points on the board, and these have just really been racking up as some of the highest scoring games we've seen this week. Bang with a great demo onto Yokes, eliminates a goalie, but nobody's there to score the goal, turning it right back around. Colorado trying to catch it in the midfield, a huge opportunity to strike, but this may be a goal against them. Goes above it, can they get in the way? They can! Volt disrupted, some physicality comes through, takes away that goal, and we're still hanging out at that 2-2 scoreline, but not for long! Starvin takes it away and puts that 3rd point on the board. Only a 1-point advantage here, Nerdy, and that is not going to make anybody comfortable.
There was a slight overcommit and over-rotation there from the side of Keyano. Vital did, I think it was either Vitali or Volts. One of them managed to make it back in time, but they just weren't at the right spot to prevent that goal from going in.
3 minutes left, only 1 goal necessary for Keyano to tie things back up all over again. And that feels pretty likely. I don't know if Colorado's gotten any better at blocking their own goal. They've just gotten a lot better at striking Keyano's goal. So if Colorado can keep up their aggression, maybe they can keep themselves 1, 2, 3 points in the lead. But Keyano, as soon as they get opportunity to strike, I feel like they're going to take it!
Woo!
As I'm saying it, though,
Spicy.
Yokes. That's spicy indeed. I mean, Yokes coming in large and in charge there. 2:47 on the clock. Now the safety net has been opened. 1 more goal to really seal the deal, at least for the first half.
Colorado seeking to put themselves at match point, as is Keyano College. Both have one game under their belts apiece, as Boulder did come in with a 1-game advantage, being undefeated thus far. Will Goliath be toppled here by Keyano, taking down the very team that sent them to our lower bracket? And they had their shot at redemption. This is it. This is the end of the arc. Will it lead in victory, or will it result in defeat?
The underdog anime arc comes to a close here one way or another, Nerdy. You are absolutely correct, Keyano. They are desperate to try and live up to that underdog story, removed from the upper bracket, trying to beat the very team that sent them to the lower. They are now 1 point away. We've entered the second half. 2:20 on the clock, 140 seconds remain. Can Boulder hold on to this lead, or will Keyano get ready to take it all back?
Boulder needs to find another goal here in order to be sitting in a situation where they won't face a buzzer beater leading us into overtime. Let's see if they can find that connection to get that extra goal, or if Keanu's going to compile another one into the net. Turned away at the last second. That really looked like it was going to go in, but a slight over-rotation again opens the goal up, but they make it back in time because that ball goes off the back wall.
Oh! Flover misses a goal because somebody from Colorado gets in the way. I didn't catch the name. But all 3 Colorado members in the goal, that is just screaming to get dunked on. That is another open goal, maybe the 5th one of Grand Finals where Colorado has completely abandoned their back half in an attempt to score against Keyano.
Stop over-rotating, please. It's not worth it. I'm begging you.
It's definitely a risk. It's a very high-risk, high-reward scenario. Some of the greatest teams we'll see have own goal or open goal situations just like that. It is a risk. It's a whole other considered risk. Leave a player in your back half because then you send in 2 strikers in a 3v2. But I feel it's a much safer option to have somebody hanging out at that goal, somebody protecting those opportunities to make sure the team doesn't get dunked on just like they almost did, blocked only because Starvin was there to knock it away. Bang goes in for an attempt on goal, falling just a little bit short. 90 seconds left, tied up 4-4. The next goal could be our last, but there's more than enough time for this series to flip on its head.
Will there be another goal or more scored in the next minute and 15 seconds, or are we going to go into overtime tied for a side, relying on the golden goal? Yokes is saying, no, Nerdy, you're not going to have to deal with that anxiety attack. Instead, I'm going to make sure Boulder walks away and puts themselves at match point. Yokes, let's see if you can keep this up for your team. You scored quite a few goals thus far, and that one was pretty.
One of the members from Keyano, I believe it was Bang, went to hit the ball, went a little short, a little underneath, and unfortunately it was just kind of a timing thing. I don't think they did anything wrong. There was just a little bit of miscalculation. Volts tries to roll it in immediately off the kickoff, tying the series up all over again, but it's taken away, blocked by Flover, who's trying to be the striker now, up and over into the center field. Is that going to go in? No! It certainly is a 2-point lead for Colorado once again. Less than 60 seconds on the clock. We've got a 6-4 on the board, double digits in total. Once again, Colorado, they are seconds away from being on series point. Tournament point.
Right now, really begging that Colorado does not overcommit and over-rotate and does not leave their goal open, because that will be ultimately their own undoing, is those open goal opportunities that they've just been handing to Keyano College on a silver platter. Let's hope they don't serve up their own gold medal opportunity on that platter to them. So we have a shot on goal from Volts, turned away by Starvin. Now we've got another shot on goal coming in, but it's going to drop down, and before it gets in the range, get taken away by one of the Keyano players.
Somebody from Boulder hanging out in the backfield. I love to see it. The back third finally has a defender to catch them. I can't see the name because my vision is not that good, but I know somebody is back there. And with only 30 seconds left, Colorado no longer has to score. They just have to ensure that Keyano doesn't. It's all about that complicated game of keep away. If you do score, it's flashy and it's great and it's wonderful, but you don't need it to win. And as we double down into the single digits on the clock, Colorado, they seem to have won game 2, and they are now on tournament point. They will be 1 game, 5 minutes, hypothetically 1 goal away from winning it all. And as Volts puts that final goal down, we would need a miracle goal, Nerdy, off the kick. It needs to go straight into goal.
And that's hard. That's very difficult to pull
near
off.
Impossible.
I mean, you have to pop it up off the kickoff and keep it up in order for this to happen, because now as soon as they touch the ball, we are at 0 seconds on the clock. Ball hits the ground. That is it. And we are at match point for Boulder. And yes, it's going to go down. Boulder now at a 2-game lead.
A 2-game lead, and one that they have worked for both games. We have seen a 1-point differential, or technically 2 in game 1, but it was a buzzer beater. So a 1-point differential from these games. It was Keyano, now it's Boulder. Boulder needs to do it one more time. Keyano, if they win the next game, they're going to have to come back and win it a 3rd time against a team that has gone undefeated up to this point. 13 shots on goal from Boulder, and, oh, that's a tough number. 13 as well, actually, from Keyano. Just the digits were built a little differently. So, I mean, that really goes to show both these teams hyper, possibly overly aggressive. And if somebody changes their play style even this much, even just a little bit, that could have a huge impact on game 3.
Yes, so now the question is will Boulder be leaving that net wide open again and giving a lot of open goal opportunities over towards the side of Keyano, or will they be able to get their rotations in sync a little bit more, stop over aggressing, and ultimately allow for a clean game with no more open goal opportunities? As you counted, we were at 5 at the end of the last game. I don't want any more. That's just too many.
Yeah, that was quite the quite the match, honestly. Too. I almost wish that was our closer, our ender. The differential really could have been amazing. I believe we're going for the players to reset into a dedicated lobby once again, so they can get ping issues resolved and whatnot. Yeah, there we go. They're jumping in once again. Boulder in the blue, Keyano in the orange, and the pressure is on once again. This could very well be our final game. It could be our penultimate game. These next 5 minutes are the only way to find out how this series comes to a close.
Going right into this first kickoff, we do see that Vitaly is going to collide with one of the other players from Boulder. Starvin, though, comes in, gets taken out by Bang. Ball is on the back third of Keanu's side of the field, though, so that demo doesn't do anything as Flover from Yokes finds goal number 1 in 11 seconds.
An 11-second goal, and we can talk about that double-edged sword. Oh, we've got a point, but it only took us 11 seconds. There's a 4:49 on the clock for our opponent to respond, but if Colorado can keep up this level of aggression, they can keep scoring early and quickly, they can really start to rack up a differential against them. Yokes with an early demolition onto Vitaly. Like I said earlier, removing Vitaly from the equation can almost spell victory for your team if you play your cards right. Flover tries to catch it off the corner, gonna fall just a little bit short, and now a great setup if Colorado can find it up and above the goal. Can somebody find the follow-through? No! A little bit short, and all of a sudden Flover overextending away from the goal, has to catch it out here, and is able to do so.
Midfield bringing it up off the wall, flying into the center. Unfortunately, Yokes gets taken out Bang. Now Starvin tries to get the volley. It's dunked down at the midfield and popped over Starvin. Saved at the last second by Yokes from Volt's shot on goal. That was beautiful.
Yokes placed into the right position by that demolition. Earlier, we've seen they can be a blessing just as much as they can be a curse, because it respawns that player in front of their own goal. All of a sudden, they've become an automatic defender. A minute off the clock, 1 point on the board. Both teams desperate to find that second point. We can see a tie-up 1-1 or a 2 lead. Only time will tell, but 20% of this game already gone.
Shot on goal going to get turned away there by one of the Boulder players. I believe it was Flover. Flover does a pass back, but unfortunately it was a dunk down over one of the Boulder players by one of the Keyano players. Vital at the mid, sending it back to the corner on the back third of Boulder's side of the field. It's going to be ending up with Yokes, who takes out Bang in the process.
Bang falling could be a massive opportunity for Colorado here. But instead, it's going to be that slow burn. They don't find the moment to capitalize. They're still struggling to get that ball out of their back third. Into the center field now. Flover looking for an opportunity to strike. Almost an overcommitment, but plays it a little bit slower, backpedals, and finds the opportunity to play that defender. What a clear down and out. All of a sudden, back down. Yokes finds a tap off the ground over one defender, right into another. Has to line it up, and unfortunately, nobody's there to find the follow-up. Uh-oh, that's a really good setup for the wrong team. Okay, Flover able to spike it into the ground and into a teammate. Possibly, no! Vitaly gonna block it out. That will not go into goal quite yet, but the second attempt from Yokes seals the deal. Now a 2-0 advantage. The safety net has been opened, and Colorado, they've got to be feeling good as we get ready to enter the second half.
Oh, and there was a slight flick there from Vitaly. It's okay, that ball would have gone in anyway, but now Colorado's in a spot we've seen them in before. Can they maintain this 2-goal lead, or is Keyano going to bring it back? We'll have to wait and see. They are at match point right now, so this is a stressful situation for Keyano College to deal with.
Keyano College there looking to find their first goal, and Vitaly, the one that's able to do it off Volt into Vitaly into goal. Right shy of that halftime, we're going to see that safety net immediately closed back up, pack it up, put it away until that two-goal differential comes back once again. All of a sudden, you know, as soon as your opponent gets that 1 point on board, you can really feel the air shift. You can feel the momentum and kind of the tension change as it's like, oh no, like they finally found their footing. We've got to really step it up a notch.
Shot on goal gets turned away, not even credited, but the follow-up shot turned away by Flover. Honestly, didn't think Flover would make it there in time, but Starvin now pushing forward, but this ball gets popped up by one of the Keyano players. Still, though, it's on the back third of Keyano side of the field. Yokes goes down. This might be the end of this forward push. They've respawned. Flover's going to try and push this ball forward past that midfield stripe, but it's going to get stalled out once again at the mid.
Flover trying to go up and over, not one but two defenders. A great juke coming out there, but unfortunately the follow-up was there. Olitos were looking good. A phenomenal pass directly into center field. Starvin comes seemingly out of nowhere with the lineup and knocks it right in. A great coverage from both teammates to make sure the defenders could not get in the way. 2 minutes left, a 2-point advantage for Colorado to win their third game and grand finals.
Off that fifth kickoff, it looks like Vitali managed to get it pushed forward, but they've over-rotated slightly. Shot on goal. Yokes from Flover finds goal number 4. We've got roughly, still 2 minutes on the clock. About, 40 seconds per goal? A little more than that?
Give or take, I think. Around there, I believe. So it's going to be very important that Keyano gets ball control at all. All of a sudden, about that 3-minute marker, Boulder was like, oh, right, that's how we completely shut out our teammate, and they've really been doing a great job not letting Keyano find ball control very often. When they do, it's almost immediately turned around by Colorado into a just complete 50-50.
Yes, and now we've crossed into what could be the final 100 seconds of our tournament here for Rocket League. If Boulder continues to maintain this lead, they will walk away with the victory, having won out against the team that they dropped down into the redemption bracket. Or will it be brought back by Keyano College, and will we see another game after this? Only the next 1 minute and 19 seconds will tell.
Sub 80 seconds on the clock right now. A very unfortunate situation. Flover coming through, trying to find that 5th goal. I think a 5th one would really be the nail in the coffin, but all of a sudden a second almost for Keyano College down to the final 60 seconds of the matchup. Colorado is 60 seconds away from securing that spot in Atlanta, Georgia next month, but Starvin goes for one. Yokes able to block it out again. Vitali not able to find that ball control. This is where it comes down to the brass backs. We have 50 seconds left and 3 goals needed for Keyano to just stay alive.
It looks like Boulder is trying to go for the lofty shots and just get this ball as far away from their goal as possible. They're maintaining at least one person forward. Their goal is wide open currently. The rotate back thankfully happened from Starvin. Don't let that happen again, otherwise we'll see a lot of quick goals easily dunking the ball down off the ground. Starvin, though, will lose possession.
Starvin loses possession, but picks it right back up, finds it at the lost and found, and cashes it in the goal. The 5th goal indeed, and probably the final one that Boulder needed to really seal the deal. With that, they are a shoo-in to be going to Atlanta, Georgia next month, but they've got to wrap up these final 19 seconds. Who knows? 1 goal per 4 seconds, 4 perfect kickoff goals in a row. That would be the miracle that Keyano needed to stay alive here.
Keyano does have the ball in position to do so, but they immediately lose out on possession. Now 10 seconds, 9 seconds on the clock. At this point, as soon as this ball goes in the air one more time, it hits the ground. That is it. Yes, the ball hits the ground. This is the end of the road here for Keyano. Their Cinderella story is written, stamped, and closed. Boulder, congratulations to you guys. You have just had your flight booked and your opportunity to go to Georgia solidified. Congratulations to all of you.
In a dominant way to do it, they lose the first game of grand finals, and they do not drop one from there. The only undefeated team here in this tournament this weekend. A phenomenal showing from Boulder, who I believe we're going to try to get to talk to in just a couple of minutes. Folks, we're throwing it to one more break here today, and we're going to try to get an interview with some Boulder in just a couple of minutes. Don't go far. What is going on, everybody, and welcome back one more time to the West Qualifier. I'm Septilence, joined by Nerdy Bird, and this time we are joined by Colorado Boulder Rocket League player Flover. Flover, my first question, a very simple one. You have secured a spot in Atlanta, Georgia next month. How does that feel for your team?
Oh man, it feels awesome, like we put in so many hours into this game, and to see it actually transform into something in the real world that we're having to go travel for, it's pretty crazy. Pretty hyped about it.
Absolutely. It is a wonderful thing to see collegiate dreams come true just like this. And Flover, I want to ask, jumping back to your first matchup against Keyano earlier today, things were a little shaky. It's the first time you guys dropped a game the entire weekend. They find that one victory, you end up winning, and then grand finals, they come back, they win game 1 straight away. What was going through your heads at that moment?
Honestly, we just felt like we weren't playing our game. Obviously the games that they won were early in the series, so we just needed a little bit of time to warm up before. But yeah, once we got rolling, the results speak for itself. We're good.
All right, so my question for you is, who are you most looking forward to being able to go up against when you go to Georgia in May?
It's funny, I get asked this question a lot. To be honest, I don't know who we're playing, but it doesn't really matter. I know that we're solid as a team, and we're getting ready to take on whatever battle we have.
All right, that sounds awesome. All right, Sep, I will let you close this one out.
All right, perfect. Flover, one more question for you before we let you go celebrate with your team. Is there anybody you would like to give a general thank you or just a shout out to while you're here with us?
Big shout out to Boink, our coach. He really brought the team together, and we're thriving now. So, a big thanks to him. Shout out to him.
Awesome. Flover, a huge congratulations once again, my friend. I cannot wait to see what y'all do next month, and we'll see you then.
Sweet. Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, folks, we are calling it a day / a weekend, at least here on Esports 2. Esports U, the main channel, is still going on right now, so please go ahead and give that a check out. I believe Valorant is still happening in full swing. Smash Ultimate after that. We love each and every one of you. A huge shout out to Geet and Orca and Big Boss and Pegasus in the back line for making everything this weekend possible. We could not have done it without any of you. Thank you to all the teams for coming, everybody for playing, everybody for watching. We love you all so very much. Check your posture, drink some water. Don't forget to love each other, and we'll CECC you next time.
Zath was right there, just a couple of frames, less than a second away from finding that defensive block. And unfortunately, you know, again.
For me, creativity starts with what ifs. Like, what if it takes place in a white void? Be beige? No.
You weren't fully tested until you were put in that Game 5 scenario.
Yeah, absolutely. And Potatoes, a little fun fact about him before we jump into the game. I got the chance to interview him for Media Day. And when we asked him his gamer tag and like what game he played, he said he was Potato, and it made me laugh, and then he laughed. We had to start the whole